Good Monday
Hello and
evening.
welcome. Oh, we went right over each other, Nathaniel. No,
We both thought we were doing the intro. Well, okay, Philip.
it's
Sorry,
I'm
Tucker. Why
I'm
don't you?
on we.
This is the best start to a stream that we've ever had. I gotta tell
We and you can tell that we've done like 50 of these together.
you.
It really shows.
Well, yeah, ennui. Nathaniel here to cover some Monday Night Mahjong, and it's gonna be an exciting one. C1 action. We haven't seen a whole lot from C1, but we've covered actually a few games recently, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
Well, and this is going to be a really fun table. We're starting off sitting behind Jeff here, and then on the right is TJ. Across the way is Thomason, and on the left is Rowan. And I know Thomason and Rowan for sure, and I'm not sure if I've interacted with TJ or Jeff before, but this I expect this table to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a few East Coasters and then a West Coaster. We have, I think TJ's from the Philadelphia, what was it, Pittsburgh area. There's a player from Baltimore. That's Thomason, I believe. Rowan's from Richinomi in New York City, and Jeff's playing from PML. So it's like three on one, East Coast versus West Coast. But Jeff is actually in really good position overall in the standings, and see what second place overall has not taken a single fourth place, and we'll see if he can keep it up in this series.
I'm very jealous of that. And Jeff, well, is deciding to go more pure efficiency here. Did have a shot at a 1-2-3 Sanshoku, but ditches the one pin to leave that 2-4 shape able to open up towards the middle of the Pinzu.
Yeah, now might even be able to shift this to the 2-3-4 Sancho, or just stick with the
Although
Tanyao.
Thomason, um, I don't even know what to say about that.
Toyman across the way, yeah. Thomason with all of these pin tiles, and can this actually get there closed?
I mean, that's
But
Tempai.
you don't want this tempai, right?
Each.
I
Well, Thompson
mean,
does.
all right, it's Richi Itsu.
Yeah, that's definitely some good value. It's a little bit of a tricky weight though. Shampoo on the 5-mon 2 pin. And you've got 5 of the tiles in your hand already. In fact, there's only 1 tile left of the wall. It's just been drawn by Rowan. So it's really a matter of will one of these players deal in at this point.
I mean, currently the 5-mon fits into Rowan's hand, and the 2-pin sort of fits into Jeff's hand here. The 2-4 pin isn't a fantastic shape. I mean, it looks like Jeff is just playing defense so far. Looks like everyone's playing
Yeah,
defense so far.
I don't know. Perhaps if an 8-mon comes out, the 5-mon will become Nakasuji, and Rowan, if he runs out of save tiles, might just play it out.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see what anyone's going for here. I mean, this Ricci just kind of really stalled out everyone's hands. CJ, or not CJ, TJ is probably the closest to being able to get back to some sort of tempai, but even still is 2 away.
Yeah, and I guess the Haku's once out, the Hatsu is Shonpai, so it's a little bit difficult to drop the Green Dragon here. And same thing for Jeff. Jeff has one of these Green Dragons that it's kind of stuck in hand. You don't really want to be playing it out, especially because we've cleared so many tiles,
Boom.
except for pin tiles. You have to be wondering at this point, what is the weight? Could be a random dragon honor.
And TJ did pass the first tune, and then Rowan immediately dropped the second and decided to go ahead and take it. Dropped the safe 7-mon instead of the live Green Dragon, like you said.
And there goes the 8-mon. So finally the 5-mon has become Nakasuji, but will Rowan have save tiles? You have the north, which is door. You don't really want to drop that, even though it's been cut once already, and I'm not sure there's anything else safe. Once so, trials it out there and it passes. 3 of the 3 so were visible, so it was one chance there.
It was also Suji to the 4 so that Rowan discarded earlier.
You're right.
Well, now is that 5 pairs? Is that Ishan 10 for 7? Oh, that was the last discard. It's nice to look at the number of tiles left in the wall sometimes.
And it should be noted, after that 9-pin discard for Ricci, uh, Thomason managed to not draw a single pin tile afterwards. So perhaps taking the Ricci was the right play.
Well, yeah, it's weird because Penzu was like not very live in the wall at that point, even. So much of it was already held in hand. This is a very nice starting hand for TJ.
Yeah, quite like this. There's the ability to incorporate the door. You have Tanyao shapes if you need to bail out and start calling. And also the chance of double east. We'll see how long TJ wants to hold on to this east. I mean, clearly he wants to hold on to it for a while because it's already already discarded these 2-so, 8-pin, these tiles that are good floaters or somewhat good floaters. So really values the double east here. Now that it's come out to the right, maybe we'll discard it soon. On the right, we have Thomason with awkward shapes. They're not the best ones, but there is a door in hand, so we'll be looking for a Richidora. Across the way, Rowan has just filled in a that's a 5-so drawing. So improves the so shape, but still not a lot of value in that hand. Hoping for a pinfu if you can fill in some of the shapes. And on the left, Jeff has 3 pairs, 4 pairs, and a lot of them are in the Banzu as well as this Haku pair. So not necessarily needing to commit to Honitsu, but that is something that you're thinking about here. And Jeff is dropping away from the 8-9 Penchan, perhaps preparing to move in that direction.
And TJ's hand has improved sort of since we left it. Like all of the shapes are very nice now.
Yes.
More than likely the 3-pin's going to end up being your pair. There's Dora, which is fantastic.
Yeah, if you're not patient, you could call Chi for and start calling for Tanya, but TJ getting rewarded for the patience here. Draws the door at Ishan Dan now for potentially Ricci Tanya Pinfu Ipeiko would be monster hand as dealer.
And it'll be interesting to see how hard Jeff wants to commit towards the Honitsu. It's always iffy dropping a Rionman shape like that 6-7 so block.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to tell how fast the dealer's going here. The rest of the table looks like it's pretty slow. They've just discarded a bunch of honor tiles and terminals. But your dealer has dropped a lot of pin tiles. And there's a second Dora. What do you do here? Is there a way to incorporate it into the hand?
It doesn't really... you could discard a 7-mon.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
And then if you drew a 5, you could discard another 7-mon, and you wouldn't have Ipeiko, but the extra Dora would make up for it. TJ, though, is kind of hedging a Chinitsu.
Oh my, yeah, the three-pin pair. This could be...
Jeff would have been Tempai discarding the Chun, waiting 1-mon, 2-mon, but denies the Tempai, discarding the 8-mon instead, and then immediately TJ gets Tempai and calls Ricci, waiting 4-7.
Yeah, 4-7. So and it looks like Jeff had the 6-6-8 shape, so not quite Tempai. Would have been Ishanten there.
It was it looked like a 6-7-8 for some reason to me. Now it's Tempai waiting on 3-mon.
And it just came out too from TJ, so we could see if actually there are no more. There are no more.
Oh no, it's not, because it's in TJ's hand.
Yeah, so for Jeff to win this is going to need to call the 1-mon or the 2-mon. And now with this 5-mon draw, not a tile you want to drop against this Ricci. We'll play out the safe 3. And there's a Sumo. This is going to be a big hand here. Ricci, Sumo, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora 2, and Uran's not needed. That's 18,000 points.
Incredible. That's such a huge win in East 2 to just kind of leap ahead of everyone, especially since the first round was Ryokyu. Oh, wow, and look at this. Starting off with Chun and Hatsu right on the back of that.
Yeah, this looks like it's TJ's hand to win here. Just call twice and you'll be in a very good shape to win this hand. Dora is the 1-so, not yet in hand for TJ, but can certainly be used since we have a connecting 3-so. There is a Dora on the right, and a little bit tricky to use. The west pair isn't super helpful for us, so we'll just be playing efficiently. In fact, just dropping away from these wests. I think there was a pair in hand. I decided to drop away from it and just drew the third one right afterwards. A little bit unfortunate there. For Rowan, that hand is shaping up pretty nicely. There's a good Manzu shapes and 2-3-5 shape in the Sozu that can incorporate the Dora. as well as the north pair that will probably end up being the final pair of this hand. And then Jeff on the left, working for a Ricci here. Is possible to find Pinfu here. Too many shapes, in fact, which is kind of a nice problem to have. Lots of mid shapes. Might end up dropping this 2-4 block in the future as they start to fill out.
And it does look like Rowan is going to force a Honitsu here, dropping the 2-3 so and calling the guest wind north.
Oh, that's an interesting maneuver. This does forego the chance to incorporate Dora into your hand, but if you can get Itsu as well, perhaps you can have Honitsu Itsu for 3 Han.
That certainly makes it more worth it. If you're TJ, would you hedge towards going for Toy Toy all triples with this hand now?
Absolutely, especially because it's getting a little bit more clear what your Toyman is doing. They will continue to drop so tiles, and so the tricky tiles, 6 so you don't really expect to be able to pull in so easily. 7 so as well because it's been cut once already. But if Toyman draws it, they will drop it. So if you can find the 8 mon, even though one's been cut already, I would absolutely move that direction.
So many pairs now can figure out which one to cut later after one gets pawned. If you draw the 5 so or 8 so, do you just discard away from like the 7 pin?
I think so. You don't need to force Toy Toy into the hand. You can just win and repeat as dealer. And in fact, TJ is kind of moving in that direction with the 8 mon cut. It is hard to expect that you will be able to complete the hand with an 8 mon pull, given that Toyman is going for a Mon Honitsu. And incidentally, we now have Mon Overflow from Toyman, who is Ishanten. So at this point, if I'm TJ, I want to win this hand as soon as possible. Don't want to force the Toy Toy. To the right, we have Ishanten for Itsu, if you can find a 3 mon and a 5 mon. Any one of those tiles will give you Tempai. And on the left, Jeff is holding this Hatsu, doesn't want to discard it into what looks like a Honitsu. In fact, it's TJ who wants the last green dragon. Or I guess this would be the 3rd green dragon. Still one left in the wall.
Each.
And there it comes.
There's Tempai, though.
So it's Ricci, Pinfu. We expected that from this hand. Chance at Dora or Tanyao. Interesting pass. TJ says, I've gotten my 18,000 points already. I don't need to deal into this.
There's so many pretty good tiles in this hand. Like, you could pawn the green dragons and drop 7 mon, 8 mon. I mean, 7 mon Suji, 8 mon's Genbutsu. Mm-hmm. You could have dropped 7 pin, both of which are Suji. So there were lots of options that TJ could have taken to try and fight here. It's still Ishanten, as it is, dropping Hatsu.
Yeah, that's just the thing. Yeah, TJ has so many good draws here that even with a pseudo fold, you can still end up finding Tempai. It's just, can you risk this 3 mon against what Toyman is putting together?
The 3 mon doesn't look fantastic.
And actually, Rowan folding with the 1 mon here is afraid of dropping the 5 so. But it actually, to the rest of the table, looks like a push. It looks like you just overflowed a second time in the Monzu, and you might even be Tempai here.
It certainly didn't deter TJ from dropping the 8 mon that was totally safe to the Ricci.
Right, and now a pull. So 2 mon comes out. Still actually kind of far from, well, needs a 4 so or a pair up here. A 4 mon or a pair up. 4 mon is safe to the Ricci, but Thomason will not discard that. Give Rowan a chance to call back into Tempai here. That's a deal in tile, but it will be held. So good defense here after the Ricci from Jeff. Jeff will net 2,000 points and leave the Ricci stick in the middle of the table for East 3.
And now we're up to 3 Homba as well, since we passed the dealership on the draw. So there's 1,900 points up for grabs.
And yeah, Thomason here with a chance at making an Itsu in the Monzu. That's the first thing that catches my eye, but you don't need to force it. You can just take a Ricci Pinfu. You can make a 1, 2, 3 Sanshoku, something along those lines to pick up these points and repeat as dealer. You can, of course, accept the Dora 6 mon into your hand, as Rowan is also doing on the right. The 6-7 mon shape is very good. A good chance at being able to take a Ricci +1 Ricci Dora, or even if you can draw the 7 pin Ricci Pinfu would be excellent. Across the way, there's an Anko of the 2 so and a pair of the 9 so. Looks like it's going to be a Ricci there. Also has a 6/7 Mon in hand, so that hand's progressing nicely for Ricci +1. And then on the left, TJ with also pretty good shapes. The Dora is in hand in a Yangkan, right in the middle of that 4-6-8 shape. So just needs to find a 5 or 7 in order to be able to make use of it. There's your 5. This is Ishanten for TJ. But also for Thomason, the draws have been coming together as well. Managed to pull in a 7-mon, which means that could be building to an Itsu here. Still needs to find a pair. And we'll have to see if a pair can indeed be found. Ooh, this is an interesting draw for TJ. Ends up dropping the 7-mon, and will hold a floater in the 5-pin, as well as this good 7-8-8-8 shape.
And the 2-mon, a fantastic draw for Thomason. Now all you need is the pair. You have a headless Ishanten here.
Yeah, and ideally you would draw the Dora for the Itsu, plus the Dora, of course. 6-0 comes out, means we'll probably see a Chi from Rowan, and there's a Sanchoku possible here. 6-7-8 with a Dora. Tanyao Dora Sanchoku would be ideal. But Tenpai found for TJ.
So 3-pin, 6-pin weight there. It's just Ricci Dora. No Pinfu because of the Anko of 8-so in hand.
How many tiles are left in the wall for this weight? 5?
Yes.
That's pretty good odds for Itsumo here. Oh, but it comes out first. Ooh!
Oh, gets hit with Ura 3!
Surprise Dora bomb, and all of a sudden TJ is looking very strong to just coast to a big first place.
Well, and that really hurts for Thomason because your hand has decent value, and that could easily have been a dealer Mangan that you're Ishanten for there. So you don't really want to back off, especially being so far away, but then just to get hit by all that Ura.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad when you saw the score pop up until the Ura flip, but hang on a second, is Toyman Tenpai already? It is.
Oh my
TJ's
God.
not giving up here.
1-so, 4-so.
That's Richinomi, but not allowing Rowan to have a dealership. Unless Rowan chooses to fight. I mean, it is double East here. And you filled a Kanchan. Sometimes with an early reach like this, you just don't have any options but to fight. And this is Ishanten for Rowan.
There are still 6 tiles left in the wall for TJ.
Hey, Mon, there's nothing that says this should be safe, but what else are you going to cut? East? Yeah, just throws it right back. We're fighting here. Where is the East? We would love to see a pun here. Well, that wasn't the pun I was talking about, but this is Jeff who's pressing forward with the Dora 2 in hand.
It's going to be really hard to... Oh, there's the 1-so.
It feels like this has to come out. And just like that, TJ shuts down another hand. Richinomi. No Ura 3 this time. There was a possibility.
That would have been truly tragic. For Rowan.
Yeah, but for TJ, that would have been truly fantastic. And we have Jeff now, dealer in the South round, South 1. We've managed to make our way here, and this is a pretty good high-buy. Love the shape in the Sozu, love the Mon tiles, even though you've got this Diankan shape 4-6-8. A lot of tile acceptance there. I mean, you could even draw perfectly into an Itsu, although it looks like Tanya might be the more efficient route here, the more likely final Yaku for this hand. TJ on the right has the ability to call the Chun down for a fast hand, and there's Dora 2 there.
And that's the big thing, is that no one else really has... I guess Thomason is 2 away, it looks like. But the shapes that need to be filled aren't fantastic, so it could still be a while before they're able to get to Tempai.
Right. But they have to fight, right? There's a door in hand, and you're down in fourth place. So you're just praying that you can find this 3-so and give yourself a good chance at Tempai. Of course, depending on who you are, you might just want to end up on this 3-so weight. Some people believe it's the best weight in the game.
We now have Ishanten for Jeff.
Ooh.
For possible Tanyao. Probably not Pinfu at this point.
Right. Let's see TJ here. Also Ishanten. Perfect Ishanten. With 2 Dora still, the ability to call Pon on the 3rd is incredible. We just snatch away a Mangan with 1 call. Rowan confirms the Dora acceptance in hand, though, so it's not going to be coming out of Rowan's hand. Call Pon here for Tempai, and there it is, 4 7-pin weight. There are 4 of these. Well, at this point, there are 4 of these. After that, 4-pin gets drawn.
I don't. 3 left in the wall.
Yeah, this is Thomason recognizing the danger. Second call, and after the 5-so Pon, out came a 4. So you're discarding from an efficient shape, believing that it's Tempai, and Thomason is correct. However, there's the second competitor here. Jeff found Tempai, chooses the Suji trapped 7-mon as the weight. Riichi Nomi here as the 9-so was drawn, so no Tanya.
And I bet Thomason is reading TJ's hand as a Honitsu, as a half flush. With the first discard of a So tile being the 4-so at turn 9. Oh, but there's the Sumo!
Just Sumo, Riichi Tsumo, and no Ura, but that's still 3,000 all, plus the Riichi stick back. Honba will be added. Repeat for Jeff.
Yeah, the Suji trap convinced the wall that the 7-mon was safe, and then got.
Yeah. Sometimes the wall can be gotten too. I wish that would happen more often in my games. I set these beautiful Suji traps that the wall just doesn't fall into. And the players are good enough that they don't fall into it either. But
well, and here we've got 2 Anko. I really want to see this become a Sanshoku Doko, triplets. With the 7s.
Yeah, well, there's another 7.
There it is.
Just will it into existence. And look, all the other 7-so, they're in the wall. It could actually happen.
Sometimes it's just fated to be. That 4-mon is a very good draw on the left for Rowan, giving a Ryanman shape, much needed to help progress that hand.
Yeah, for Rowan, there's 2 Dora, so you'd really love to get to Tempai quickly to clear Riichi and claim your points. Even that pair is kind of interesting. If you end up on a 2-so West Shabo, it tries to confirm that even with the 3-so cut. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll end up on that weight, especially given that one of the Wests has been cut already. However, if you don't draw around this 4-pin, you probably will.
I'm also very curious when Jeff will choose to con this 7-pin. If at all. It's no,
right
there it
here.
is.
Yeah, unfortunately with that 8-mon draw, looks like the Sanchoku Doko is probably not going to happen here. And of course the con was taken at Ishanten, the very standard timing for such a con.
Awkward. This Ishanten?
Yeah, we just need to find a pair. Unfortunately, with the 7-mon, it's not the ideal pair candidate, but if you draw another 7-mon, you have it, or even a 4-pin. Awkwardly, though, the 7-pin con revealed the 9-pin to be the Dora, but that's kind of blocked off here.
Oh, that was a great... Now we have a very good headless Ishanten.
Yeah, this is the perfect solution. If you draw either of your Diamond shapes, you can discard away from the 1-mon, but what happened here?
Chitoi Tempai!
Oh, it's
Chitoi Dora too!
Oh, Hellweight, though. Interesting move. We'll see if the last 2-mon can come out.
Oh, I would have loved a 6-so weight there with the 9-so and the 3-so
trap.
discards. That would have been a fantastic trap.
And yeah, someone might have definitely fallen for it. As it is, we are waiting for only one final 2-mon, and we'll see how Jeff reacts.
And that is in the wall currently.
Yeah. Tempai found for TJ. Not taking the Ricci here. It's a Shabo 5-mon 8-so wait. 8-so has just become Suji. 5-pin is actually relatively safe. Oh wait, no it isn't. I thought a 2-pin had come out from Jeff, but it was actually a 3-pin. So this is a little scary, and yeah, TJ doesn't want to have anything to do with this one, just drops the 5, so.
Yeah, with this big of a lead, you don't really need to mess around.
And who knows? Oh, TJ's really out. 3-pin comes out. There's the 2-mon. Thompson has been defending well here and continues with the Genbutsu discards. But now the 2-mon becomes Suji, and we see a Chia to Tempai. Now this doesn't have a Yaku for Jeff, just hoping to make it, be able to make it to Yukoku.
Yeah, the ability to hold on to dealership here is very nice, especially since this is your last dealership, because there's no other way you're going to be able to catch TJ other than winning as dealer.
Yeah, I was looking at the chance of conning the 1-mon for a Rinchon, but then I realized the 1-mon has been discarded already, so no option there.
You just need the 8-so to be discarded. Final drop by TJ on the right.
Yep, right now it's TJ who has the final draw. Ooh, 5-pin. Same tile that got TJ to fold. 8-so is Suji, though. You could trial it out there. It hasn't been seen yet. Oh, wow, just pushes the 5. At this point, it has become 1 chance with 3 of the 3-pins coming out.
Although it should be noted that 1 chance is not a very strong tool on the final row of discards.
Right.
I mean, because you see most of the tiles as it is.
Right. As it is Jeff who manages to maintain the Tempai. No one deals in. We've had some very good defense here so far in this game. And Jeff will continue on with the 7-mon being Dora. These shapes are all right. You certainly have enough to find Tempai as is, but you do need to fill in a Kanchan and a Penchan as your 2 weakest blocks. To the right, TJ has a couple pairs, reasonable shapes, ability to just work your way efficiently towards Tempai, and of course a 7-mon can be incorporated into this hand. Same could be said for Thompson across the way. 7-mon slots in quite nicely, and you even have some slight chances at something like a 4-5-6 or a 5-6-7 Sanchoku. And there's a 4-mon, so could be moving in that direction, would be quite a pickup for Thomason. Now on the left, Rowan has paired up the Haku and the West, so we could see a Haku call to try to steal the points that are in the middle of the table. There is a door that is unconnected right now, but of course, Rowan hoping to draw around that.
And Jeff has had 2 consecutive shape fills here. Now at Ishanten. Really want to draw the Dora 7-mons that you can get Pinfu, although I'm sure would accept the Dora wait.
Yeah, if you find Tempai, I imagine Jeff just slams the button. Slams the Ricci.
If you can find a 9-so before that happens, which there's actually none left now that that last one was discarded, but there it is.
Yeah, waiting on the 7-mon. There are 3 in the wall, incredibly. Penchon waits. Usually not very strong here, but Ricci Sumo Dora is already really strong. 2,000 all without Uda. There's one of the Dora.
But since that's been paired up in Rowan's hand, that gives Rowan some incentive to fight here. Could pawn the Haku, have the Dora as your pair. That'd be a nice little 3-han pickup.
Yeah, and with the 7-so being Genbutsu to the dealer Ricci, you might expect to see it come out from the player on your left. However, the difficulty here is with the 5-mon Ricci, 1-4-mon, 6-9-mon, really a lot of mon tiles begin to look dangerous. And I'm not sure that I'm so afraid of the 1-mon in this instance, but it does become more dangerous when something like the 6-mon clears. You have 1-4-7 and the 2 that could all deal in here. I think you just have to take this fight.
Yeah, I mean, waiting on Dora. One of the things that I often think about when I'm trying to... Oh, but Sumo did not waste the Ricci stick,
And the
and
Ura. Jeff.
and Jeff now only 8,800 behind TJ, and this is huge for Jeff and pretty horrible for both Rowan and Thomason. We now have almost a 30,000 point gap between second and third.
This is quite exciting now. I mean, can Jeff actually chase TJ down? I mean, at the beginning of the broadcast, we were wondering if Jeff would be able to hold the streak of 0 fourth places, and it looks like he's good for that. But can he even steal away first at this point? Dora's the 9-mon, and there's 1 in hand for Jeff. 2 away from Tempai, in fact. Looking quite strong. Actually, the hand to the right looking good as well. Or TJ. And Anko. And a couple pairs, so we'll see if a 5, 6, 7 Sanchoku could be drawn together. You could end up dropping the 1 pair and moving towards the Tanyao Sanchoku route. Across the way, Thomason, also excellent shapes. This is Ishanten already. Perhaps you can find Ipeko, and if you could draw a 6-so, even Sanchoku as well. Good chance for Thomason in this hand. On the left, Rowan. Also Ishanten. These hands are coming together quite quickly. Just Ricci Nomi for Rowan. But it is Jeff who will get there first. Ricci, Dora 1 waiting on the 8-mon, Dora indicator.
And there's only one of those left in the wall since it is paired up in Thomason's hand.
TJ again will play the safe route. 1 pin, 1 pin, 1 pin, and could find Tempai again with Tanyao.
And there's a Dora for Thomason.
Yeah, it really feels like Thomason needs to take this opportunity to fight. Unfortunately, this one's going to deal in. Ricci, Dora, no Ura, so only 3,900 plus Homba makes it 4,800. And unfortunately for Thomason, does end up stinging a little bit, but it's certainly understandable in that position. Your hand is quite strong. It was an early Ricci, so not necessarily a good way. It just happened to be that Amon was the deal in tile.
Well, then here, Jeff, another chance to try and repeat here. Could get a 4-5-6 Sanshoku. Just has a lot of Kanchans to fill here.
Yeah, but we saw Jeff drawing really well in the last hand. Certainly able to fill contrast. Well, there's one.
There's one.
One more to go. You have two chances at it as well. And of course, ideally you draw an improvement around one of these blocks before you fill your hard to find shape. Gonna skip actually to the left and look at Rowan's hand because I just noticed a second Dora drawn. And Rowan also has good Tanyao shapes. So it could be Ricci Dora 2, could be calling for Tanyao, Dora 2 or 3. And maybe even with that 4-pin draw, you can think about building Ipeko. For now, you can just drop the north and wait and see. Let's go across the table as Thomason is building another very pretty looking hand again with a Dora and chance at 4-5-6 Sanchoku. Maybe this is another chance to pull back into this game and at least try to overtake third place. And then, of course, TJ on the right. Reasonable hand as well. There's a Dora. Chance at 6-7-8 Sanchoku. So all these hands looking pretty strong. I saw Jeff continuing to draw on these Mon tiles. I wonder if a 7-mon is drawn, we'll try to confirm the Ipeko and discard away from the pin shape. I guess that doesn't necessarily lock any Ipeko because you could draw the 9-mon.
But that would still be a upgrade in general. And, well, there's actually a 9-mon there. Oh, and now is taking...
Yeah, I'm not sure if this changes too much. Still really looking for this 5-pin. Because most of your Mon upgrades just leave you with a second pair. Or most of your good Mon draws. And yeah, Akko's the 9. So holding this 4-6-8 Jiankan, Ishanten still.
Has Rowan has not yet had a chance to call.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Because at this point, I'd really like to open that hand. Like, I don't want to be sitting around with these 2 Dora and all of these really nice, simple shapes, even though Ricci, Tanyao, Penfu, Dora 2 would be fantastic.
Oh, I don't know if you want to call that one, though.
Yeah, not the 2-so.
But
I probably would have discarded the 3-so several turns ago, before the 7-pin.
I'm kind of with you in the sort of defensive minded standpoint. Like you open this up as your high pie, you're like, yes, I have great shapes, I have good draws, I can call easily. And you get to the middle of the second row and you're expecting a Ricci to come out any moment. And when that Ricci does come out, you have nothing but middle tiles to try to defend with. It's very difficult to do so. And so I definitely want to be speeding up my hand. Just hasn't been given anything from Thomason, who's been, of course, building their own hand quite naturally.
and not been drawing very much.
No, I mean, all these hands were quite nice at the start, but no one's finding the tiles that they need. We've had players stuck in this sort of Ishanten position for quite a while. That's a good draw. It's an upgrade. Could cut the 7-mon. This is a good draw. Okay, things finally starting to come together a little bit. Interesting choice, discarding this 8 pin over the throwing the 3-so back.
Two 7-pin already discarded, and the 3-so making an extra pawn available, which you can take from either TJ or Thomason. Probably just trying to get to K10 here.
Yep,
Oh, there's a con.
That makes
anything for an extra draw.
Right. That makes the 6-0 door. That's 2 more Han in Toyman's hand, Thomason. If they could just find Tempai, that's another 7-pin leaving the hand, and Thomason really would love to see a 7-pin or even a 4-pin, but they're all just being held. There's only one 4-pin left, and that's not it. So I think we're going to Ryukyoku. It's not going to be Tempai either.
Yeah, just no one could get there. All of those hands were so great.
I mean, at the start of the hand, I thought these are all so incredible that it's just a matter of who's going to get there first, not a matter of if anyone would get there. It turns out no one did.
And now we're on repeat 5, and Thomason actually going straight for the either Honitsu or Chinitsu, half flush or full flush, yet to be determined, before we even really settled into the hand.
With a high pie like that, it makes a lot of sense why.
Well, but you are going to have to fight TJ, who opened up with an Anko of the Chun. I guess it didn't open up like that. That was like the second or third draw, but still, yeah, is pawning the 1-mon.
Accelerating.
Race this.
Absolutely. Especially because the Dora is the east. You don't have any in your own hand, and you know that a Honitsu could definitely use the Dora east. So you don't want to let that hand win. Even if you don't deal into that hand, allowing it to Tsumo would still cost you.
And Tempai already waiting 6-0, 9-so, which all 4 of those 6-0 and 9-so fit in very well into Thomason's hand right now.
Absolutely, yeah. 3 left in the wall for Tsumo, but if Thomason draws it, will definitely be used. And it really just looks like a race between these two. Actually, there's Ishanten and now Tempai on the left. Incredibly, Jeff somehow manages to match the speed of the open hands and has a very good Tempai for a 4th turn Ricci. Ricci Pinfu waiting on 4-7-so.
And that 7-so very much abandoned in TJ's hand here.
Yeah, TJ
but abandoned because of discarding Genbutsu, so...
I wonder if that was a defensive play or an offensive play. I mean, there's Honitsu here.
Oh,
TJ pushes for it, and that's going to deal in. Just 2,000 points. That's actually not the... Okay, that's actually pretty bad.
Yeah, the 1,500 in Honba on top of that made it a 7,000 point swing.
Yeah, I think that was the difference. Otherwise, they'd be tied. So that actually was a really pivotal moment there. And so we're going to South 3. It's a big race for first place. Thomason trying to get something out of this dealership. This is your last chance to make a good comeback, overtake Rowan for 3rd. The gap is 11,000, so 1 dealer Mangan and you're there.
Unfortunately for Thomason, though, Rowan's hand is gorgeous.
Oh my. The shapes keep looking better and better. So many pairs, though. Could this end up being a Chitoi? No. Rowan says no. Not going down that path.
Yeah, honestly, what would the most efficient discard there have been?
Hmm. That's a good question. I think
2 2 4 6 7 7 5 5 6 7 7 7. Yeah, that's.
my
I mean, that hand
instinct,
just has too much.
yeah,
Oh,
my
I would have cheated
instinct
that.
was, yeah, same here. Although Rowan with this hand is probably looking for like the maximum value, but there are a lot of pairs in the hand. My instinct was to just drop the form on there, take your Chito Ishanten, but still give yourself chances at, Ipeko Tanyao, something along those lines. But even just throwing the 5 pin back was probably acceptable too.
Yeah, the question of whether to go for value or speed here for Rowan is very interesting because I mean, what are the chances? You do have your dealership left, so you can always try and go on a rampage to attempt to catch TJ and Jeff far ahead. But more than anything, what you really don't want to happen is for Thomason to catch up at all.
Right. For that reason, I think I'm incentivized to call. But if Rowan can find the 6 pin specifically and get
Home.
a big win here, that certainly reduces the amount of work you have to do on your dealership. Now that there's been a call from dealer, I definitely want to match speed though.
But turns down another call, unlike last round where people might have been willing to open but never got the chance. Rowan has had about 8 different opportunities to make some sort of call and has taken none of them. We do see Thomason now moving towards a toy, although
Yeah.
it's Mochi Mochi on the pay with Jeff across the table.
Unfortunately so, but
Home.
that hand really did feel quite difficult. Finally, we see the call for tap by. Discards the 7 pin, actually. It's a bit of a surprise. Just waiting on the 6 pin here, but this will be Tanyao.
Yeah, if you discard 5 pin there, you have a 4 pin, 7 pin, 7 mon weight.
Ooh, another 6 pin draw, and I don't think TJ was planning to use this, but now that it's in
Come.
hand as a pair, might as well. Con of the
There's a
9, so
con.
it makes the 9 pin door, but that's not very useful to any of these players. It just increases the foo and makes the hand look scarier.
Well, it'll be interesting if that makes anybody else fold, because then we could very easily end up in another
See.
everybody no 10 situation.
TJ's trying to work this into a Tanya. I think Jeff is concerned about this Hatsu, even though it's been once cut. The question is like, what is the Yaku for the dealer?
Home.
And now we switch to a Furriton weight for Rowan. TJ, on the other hand, not Furriton, waiting 4 mon 5 so.
Yeah, Jeff's just out. Will not throw any of these dangerous tiles. Might end up throwing the north. We'll see.
Kong.
Another con.
Another con! Flips the 8 pin, which is also unhelpful to everyone.
3 pin just came out. Door is definitely not leaving Jeff's hand. 4 mon,
All right.
none left. 7.
Discarding 7 mon would not deal in. Oh, but doesn't take the Tempai! Misses the Tempai!
And here's a 5, so and I think Rowan's just no dodges.
Wow, what a dodge.
And this is gonna go to Ryukyoku again. Incredible.
With nobody Tempai.
Well, just
Oh, no,
TJ.
TJ.
And
TJ.
Rowan will look at that, look at the 5 so in hand, and congratulate himself.
Yeah, that is very impressive. I don't really know how Rowan dodged that. I don't know. And to dodge and still discard the 7 pin, it's not like the 7 pin I don't think looked particularly safe. Although 5 so did look very bad, but very, very good on Rowan for dodging there.
And so Rowan will now have his opportunity to make the comeback. All last dealer. Hatsu pair in hand, the ability to start opening up. There's a chance at 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku. 7 pin is the door, and no one has one. And now Hatsu's become Mochi Mochi with Jeff on the right. Now Jeff is in an interesting battle with TJ for first place here. There is 1,000 points exactly separating the two of them.
Any win at all would get Jeff first. So you don't have to force Honitsu here, but Honitsu might almost be the fastest hand to take.
Now we see a cheat, and that also gives Jeff an out, just in case of this Mochi Mochi scenario. Rowan's going to be in a little bit of trouble here, having opened already for what appears to the rest of the table as a Tanyao. but Rowan's really hoping for the Hatsu to come out. Now, if Rowan does draw around this 4-so or the 7-pin, might end up switching to Tanyao, and that would bail him out.
But while it would bail him out, it would help out Jeff considerably.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jeff actually has just perfect shapes, all the blocks that you need to complete this hand. So we'll call just about any of these honor tiles. We'll call all of these honor tiles. I just hope to draw well in the Manzu. For TJ across the way, just aiming for a Pinfu, and you could even Dama the Pinfu if you found Tenpai.
Boom.
There it is. There's the switch to Tanyao. Pull made by Jeff. Ishanten now for the Honitsu. Oh, TJ draws the Chun pair. This might be a route to speeding up the hand. And unfortunately for Thomason on the left, it looks like you're going for a Ricci, Chanta, Nan, something like that to try to make a Mangan to hit dealer directly with.
But we're going to have a scrum between everybody who's not Thomason, which is just going to make it impossible for Thomason to finish the hand, really. So if you're Thomason, you almost have to cheer for Rowan here.
Right. Oddly enough, because you don't want Rowan to get farther ahead, but if Rowan doesn't win this hand, the game just ends with you in 4th place.
Well, Rowan is Tenpai, but Furitin waiting 2-pin, 5-pin.
Ooh, that's an unfortunate backfire. And that can switch out of it.
Here.
Tonki. Chooses the 4-pin Tonki. That's twice out, though. Unlikely to win on that. However, it's unlikely that anyone can use a 4-pin if drawn. Oh my, is this Tenpai? It is.
It is.
It's
waiting on
Ricci,
3-mon.
Ricci Chanta. It's 3 Han, but if Rowan deals in and there's an Uda flip, that would be enough.
Let's see. So there's 1,300 in the, or there's 1,000 in the middle from Thomason's Ricci stick. I mean, Mangan Sumo, you would net 12,400, wouldn't you?
Yeah, actually, Mangan Sumo would do it.
You would net 12,400 and you'd get your Ricci stick back. So Mangan Sumo is enough.
Well, there's 2 players then who are Tenpai for this 3-mon. Jeff has also gotten there with this Honitsu Hatsu. And there are 2 3-mons left. Who will find it? Thomason for the Gyakuten Sumo. Rowan for the 3-mon Dealin, which would actually... 6-mon is passed, so Rowan's saved. If the 3-mon is drawn, can just drop another 6-mon.
Boom.
And that Jeff, good sumo, into 1st place here with a 3-mon.
Well, and TJ is actually, you can tell, is concerned if Rowan doesn't get Tenpai, if Rowan folds, which would be pretty reasonable for Rowan to do.
Oh,
but it's going to get the 7-pin. It's going to get the Dora.
That's a Mangan. Dora Tonki for the Tanyao. And Rowan picks up 12,000 points, plus the Ricci stick and the Homba, and all of a sudden Rowan has a chance to make it over 30k, and with another hand like that, could even pass Jeff.
Well, and that's just, and if you're Thomason here, it hurts. You did such a good job of building exactly the hand you needed, and then to see your direct competition win a Mangan off of a Tonki, it just, that feels so bad. But Thomason played that hand so well.
Importantly, stayed closed, did not do anything that would devalue the hand. Found the Tenpai, took the Ricci, and just could not find the 3-mon. It was somewhere buried in the wall. But well played. And at this point, if you're Thomason, it's not like you're out of options here. You still have something to play for. If you keep Rowan below 30,000, or you can drop, Jeff below 30,000, then you save yourself 5 UMA points. So it's still important that you not allow Rowan to run away with this.
And TJ might help here. TJ has a very fast hand, and now with Jeff being not really close, a whole 13k away, TJ can open kind of freely.
Yeah, there's going to be a question mark on this Dora. We'll see. Obviously, TJ would love to win, Hakuchu and Dora 2 for Mangan, but now that Rowan has opened up, you might start to let it filter out of your hand a little early.
Oh, and we're going to see Jeff opening up for the Chinitsu. Gonna try and make. Well, you can't really make a Hanuman happen here.
But Shinizu for Mangan is still quite good, and
Chi.
uh, if you hit TJ directly, that's good enough. So Rowan looking for the Hatsu. We have Ishanten for TJ. Thomason just working for Arichi here. 2 away from Tempai now. That's a good draw. Ishanten for Thomason.
And TJ
Gee.
perfect Ishanten as well.
This Chi is a little bit awkward for Rowan. It looks like the hand is tied out to the rest of the table. Maybe that encourages the Green Dragon to come out more easily. A pseudo Tempai here with no Yaku. And you'll have noticed Rowan holding that 8-mon until the final draw, the final discard when Tempai was found. Not wanting Jeff to be able to call more easily into the Chiritsu.
That one mon won't actually deal in.
But it'll give a pull. Chun comes out, and can TJ afford to call this? Because then you have to drop a Montile into the Chinitsu, and does risk it. You know what? TJ said, if the 8-mon wasn't called, then it's got to be safe.
And now we have several Tempais. We have 3-mon Tempai for Rowan, 1-mon, 4-mon Tempai for Jeff, after the 1-mon pawn, and we have 4-mon, 5-mon Tempai for TJ.
This is exciting. I mean, 1-mon, 4-mon, not that strong. There's only 1 left in the wall for Jeff. 3-mon as well. 1 left in the wall. And for the Shaba weight, that's a stronger weight.
Yes.
Both of the 5-mon in the wall as well as that 1 4-mon. Rowan actually switching out to the 8-pin here.
And there's some logic there because you assume that all of the Manzu are being held, and Thomason's just got
Tempai, yeah. And that's crucial. It's only 2,600, but it did save you 5,000 additional points because Rowan was Tempai with a hand that would have gotten him over 30,000. So Thomason did manage to limit the damage here. It's only negative 39.9, which for the way the game was going is actually a pretty good result. TJ, not surprising to see in first place, although it did get quite close at the end. Nice plus 36.3 for TJ, and I think that will move him over the positive mark, which is very important for players in C1 division. It gives you a chance to promote if there are extra promotion slots in the future after hiatus situations have been taken into consideration. For Jeff, that's a nice positive score there, plus 10.4. Had an even bigger score possible, but lost it while fighting for first place. Certainly understandable. And will continue the 4th list streak, shall we say. Rowan, negative 6.8, had an incredible comeback in there and all last as well. So that was a good fighting game of Mahjong.
I mean, there was just so much happening all the time, it seemed. Even the hand where everybody was no 10, it felt like there was so much tension.
Yeah, we certainly felt in that round. It was incredible that in the end, no one was able to find Tempai. But they will be preparing to play their final game on the set. 2 games for this table. And it looks like they are not prepared to start it just yet, taking a quick break in between. And so I think perhaps we also will take a quick break. And when the game goes live, we will be back on for the second of this series. We'll see you in a few. Welcome back, everybody. Nathaniel here, joined by Ennui, Tucker, and a new special guest. We've got Philip joining us. How's it going, Philip?
Good, good, good. Feeling good. Drink some water. I
See,
didn't mess up at work today. Feels good.
that's just the best.
Imagine not messing up at work.
Hydrated and feeling good about your workday. Can't be
I'm
any
feeling
better than that. And we're
hydrated.
feeling really good because of the Mahjong match that is going on right now. We just saw an awesome one between TJ, Thompson, Rowan, and Jeff. Jeff climbing up to 200 points for the season. TJ also moving up into the positive zone. We mentioned that's very important for the C group. Um, Rowan still right around the middle of the pack, and Thompson had an unfortunate game, but played really well. Gave himself lots of chances to when he has it. Unfortunately, got a bit unlucky in a couple of those.
Yeah, it was one of those games that really helps put the stats that we look at here in perspective. I mean, that round started with a Hanuman Sumo as from the TJ as dealer, and then Tom was just like playing from behind the entire game, and they had like one or two unfortunate deal-ins that made total sense. And like you look at the stats, like the 17.7 win and the 18.3% deal-in, and you're like, well, you really got to do something about that if you want to move up. But sometimes it's just not your fault at all. And I think it's really important to point out when the players coming in fourth have done a really fantastic job, because it hurts being that person in fourth.
Yeah, of course. I mean, me personally, I am quite acquainted with the fourth place over the last two seasons, and a lot of it really is just playing for damage control after a certain point.
I know, especially you had an experience earlier this season that maybe I shouldn't be revisiting here, but there was a Yakuman deal in that you had to go for, and you managed to damage control that into third place. Incredibly enough, it was actually really awesome to see. And so we always root, uh, if a game's going really badly for a player at the table, we always root for them to get something out of the game. And Thompson, the last game, did a great job of doing exactly that. Well, hopefully this game goes even better. And we've got Jeff as our first dealer, Thompson on the right, TJ across the table, Rowan on the left. Is this the same seating arrangement we had last time? Or perhaps one of the players
It's
has switched?
not. It's not, because Rowan and Thomason were third and fourth
Oh,
dealers.
okay. So
So
I had the feeling that Jeff was the first dealer in the last game at least.
Yeah, it looks like Thomason and TJ switch seats. That's what
Gotcha.
I'm looking at.
Well, looking at these high pie, the door is the Haku. We already see two come out around the table. Looks like dealer's got a very standard hand aiming for a Ricci, potentially Penfu. To the right, we've got Thomason, who has got potential for an Itsu in the Sozu, and still holding on to this Dora. It's going to be pretty safe later on, but if you do pair it up, that is a big boost to the value of the hand. Our Toyman TJ across the way has a Tanyo type hand, two away from Tempai there, and on the left, Rowan is working with the Hatsu pair that can be called. I'm not a believer in the Chanta for this hand, but there are a lot of pairs. Could it be Chitoy? Philip, what do you think?
You know, I think would be really funny is if this Chitoy hand on the left finds the Haku, reaches on it, and the Haku comes out as the same tile.
Oh, but then it would be Furiten, so I think Rowan's gonna give up on that.
Hmm.
I mean, we've seen Rowan go for several hell weights. What hell weight for a 10 is just, I mean, once you're doing hell weights already, I feel like it's just one more step. The 7 Mon is going to dissuade Rowan from the Chitoy, though, here, taking just a normal Ishan 10.
Yep. And if the Hatsu comes out, we'll likely see that call and just go for the quick hand to move it along.
Yeah, nine pit two, so weight looks pretty strong. Incidentally, did you see the Haku did get paired up on the right?
Yeah, now that hand has great value. Not sponsored by Walmart, by the way, but that hand's going to be really nice. Will need to be recheated, unfortunately,
Ooh,
but
that's
Hmm. I don't know if that's really a good draw there. I guess to really make use of it, you almost need to discard 8
yeah.
so and pull in the 5 so, because the Haku has to be your pair. I mean, you don't want to go Shabo with half of it dead.
It does
Right.
move you forward in Shanten, though. You do, like you said, have the 5-so draw. You could even draw the last 7-so for Tenpai. And so you certainly will accept that.
Draw to last 7, so auto con.
I mean, hey, Khan into
Forced con.
5-so, into
Oh,
Ricci.
And we do see TJ across the table discarding the 7-pin, 8-pin Rionmen.
Oh, this is so sneaky because 2-5 came up from that hand already and it drew back into that shape. Could be waiting on the 4-7, which is kind of unexpected with that discard pattern.
Each.
hold that thought. The perfect 5-so draw just came
Each.
through,
Oh, but
waiting on
perfect
5-8 mon.
Perfect
And then
7-mon
the
draw.
immediate chase.
3-so, 6-so doesn't realize just how bad it is because they're hidden away in hands.
Oh,
Rowan
wants to
doing
get
a double
involved.
Apatsu break.
2-so safe against one Ricci, but not Thomason's Ricci. Does pass though.
So for the 5-mon, 8-mon wait, there's only 2 of those left in the wall.
Here's Tenpai.
I think you have to go for the 7, yeah.
Wants a 7-pin. A little bit safer.
Oh, and there's
Oh!
5-mon.
The last 5-mon as well. Ricci, Dora 2. Well, if there ever was a hand to point towards keeping the Dora, even if it's twice cut, it's this one. Thomason, rewarded for the patience, managed to pair it up and win 5,200 points as a result.
Last game was just sandbagging for all the flow in this game.
Home.
All right, we'll see if Thompson can carry the flow as dealer has the Haku pair this time. Not Dora. Dora's the 5-so, and there's one in hand. Could work towards a 3-4-5 Sanchoku possibly. We do see a call of the south to the right. That is the seat wind for TJ. And hands coming together. This is actually Ishaten already. It's a 5-mon and an 8-mon for the win. Across the way, Rowan has just drawn a nice connecting tile in the 7-mon. And this hand is 2 away from Tenpai for Ricci, Pinfu, Tanya, potentially Peiko Dora 2. That would be a monster for sure. And on the left, Jeff is... These are a couple completed good shapes. There's a floating Dora, and it'll be interesting to see how that comes into play. Oh, an Onko draw. That's actually pretty huge. It gives you a lot of flexibility in the rest of the shapes. I mean,
Dealer.
I was
Or,
going to say,
sorry, go
Philip,
ahead.
what do you think if you're dealer? Do you just have to call and maybe give up on this Dora if you get the White Dragon?
Yeah. I think as dealer, you're pushed to be a little bit more efficient at the expense of value to keep your
Gee.
dealership. I would be pretty happy to just call down for 2 Han.
With TJ having 2 calls already, though, I think I would much rather discard 3-so than 5. Like I don't really. Maybe that's just the coward in me speaking, but discarding Dora into a twice called hand when you have another option.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
would you pass the Haku then?
Yeah, I
Or-
think so.
Maybe even call the
Yeet.
Haku and drop 3-so 3-so. We see a reach on the left. Jeff found Tenpai on the 4-7 mod. This actually would deal into the right. And it does
Boom.
come right out. But that is definitely the cheaper of the 2 options. Only 1,000 points to pass the dealership along.
Don't you love donating your Ricci stick for nothing?
Yeah, that's really painful. There's actually if you are a member of the American Ricci Mahjong League, and there is a stats option where you can look at the number of Ricci sticks that you've lost over the course of the season, and it's always quite fun to see that, even if it is a little painful.
I'm horrified to look at that stat personally.
Okay, quick, everybody, go to your stats and see how many Ricci sticks you've lost. As I go over these hands, TJ, our dealer, looking to find an 8-so Dora. Reasonable shapes outside. Could be a 5-6-7 Sanchoku, perhaps. To the right, Rowan has a few dragons. Maybe thinking about holding on to those for a while. Holding on to this 9, so just in case an 8-so Dora is drawn. Just really disconnected shapes and might just end up being a G-toy. Across the way, Jeff is working towards a Ricci Pinfu, potentially 1-2-3 Sanchoku. If it's Pinfu, if you get all perfect draws, but might just choose to open it up and get back to 30,000. And on the left, we have Thompson, who has the East pair, can call that as the round win.
Chitoidora 2, homie. Come on.
Okay, that's fair. We are Ishantet for Chitoi. With Dora too. Yeah.
Even calling the East, I feel like it would take you 5 ever to open up that hand for Tenpai.
Oh, well, it's Tempai
There it
now.
is.
Ooh, do you wait on the 9? So it is close to
Yeet.
Dora, but it is a terminal tile. And the reach is taken. Okay, we'll see if this Richie
Ooh.
stick is lost to the void or
Cheat.
stolen by another player.
A 9-so is looking kind of loose, but I feel like you toss one of your honor tiles first.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Rowan to play this hand, and I think it's probably just going to end up being a fold.
I do want to point out that Rowan started with 8 unique terminals, and if they had gone for the Kokushi, it would have been sitting at Ishan 10 at this turn.
Oh, wow. That's way farther than I was expecting. Now for TJ, I wonder if this Chi is just a breaking pots or if this is actually a push, because you don't have to drop 9-so here. You could fight for Sanchoku and use the 9-so as the pair.
Hmm.
There's another
Oh.
Dora.
Does skip the call.
Yeah, that does ruin your chance at actually being able to win the hand. So I think TJ's kind of thinking about aiming for a win here. Rowan still playing safely. Safer Jeff. We've seen over the course of the last game and even the start of this game that if there's a Ricci on the table and Jeff isn't, Tenpai or Ishanten tends to bow out of it. TJ will actually deal in it. This is going to be huge. Ricci Chituidor to check the Ura. Whiffed on the Ura, but still Mangan. Plus 8,000 points for Thomason. This game is going extremely well.
Yeah, continuing to steamroll here.
All right, have you pulled up your stats? Have you determined how many Ricci sticks you've lost?
I was actually trying to pull up the ranking in ARML
Oh.
for most Ricci sticks lost, but I don't think I can sort by that.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, I just pulled up my own. I've lost 17 sticks this season out of 16 games. But we're into this one. Rowan has a Honitsu? Question mark? I mean, the one pin was cut early, which is unusual for a pin Honitsu, but might just be working his way back into it. Does have a door 4 pin to increase the value. Might just be playing for a faster hand with this East pair, especially if you draw tiles around the 4. So we'll just have to wait and see. To the right, pretty reasonable shapes. If you draw the 5 pin, you can use the door. It's a little bit tricky to do so without the 5 pin unless you get a 3 pin. So we'll be holding onto that 4 and waiting to draw around it. Across the way, that's a nice draw for Thomason. Might be another Ricci hand here. Could even be Sanshoku 2, 3, 4. We'll have to wait and see. And for TJ on the left, this hand is kind of awkward. You almost have to go for 7, 8, 9 Sanshoku, and the door just leaves it right away. I actually like the Chi if I'm Rowan here, but lets it pass.
Yeah, I think Rowan, with the 1 pin discard on the first turn, kind of gives up on makes both Honitsu and gives up on the Itsu really early on. Not a huge fan, would have probably preferred going for an honor discard first. But I can understand skipping the Dorichi, maybe not super confident of filling the 2 4-pin Kanchon and being left with the 8 9 pin Penchon as well.
Yeah, I guess if you do Chi that, you're aiming for double East, Honitsu door 2 for Hanemon. And that's very attractive to me.
Right.
But even
I
without
guess
that, it's still, double East door 1, quite good.
It's probably going to get to Tenpai here. Waiting on the just dropped 7 pin.
Oh, danger for Jeff then.
Right, the 7 pin is probably going to have to come out unless... Or maybe the 4 pin comes out first, but I don't know if you want to toss Dora into Dealer, who's not dropped a lot of Penzu at this point.
Ooh, could have seen a
Come.
pawn there. Doesn't.
Con!
Oh,
6-mon, the new Dora.
I think you just have to keep your tempo here. Oh, no.
Oh no!
Oh, greedy.
now starts to greed for the Honitsu.
Yeah, this is interesting. I personally think it's too late. I don't know. What do you say, Phil? Would you have made the switch at this point? And Tucker, I'll get your opinion next.
I don't know if I'd made the switch at this point. I feel like this is very much, I thought I was out, but then they pull me back in kind of move where you sort of say, I'm not going to commit to this, and then you get one semi-good draw, and you're like, okay, I'm committing to this. And it's that wishy-washiness ends up hurting you.
Tucker, similar thoughts?
The exact same thoughts. I'm not like, especially because we see so many of the Penzu you need out right now.
Yeah, 3-pin particularly is twice cut by Toyman and also one in the dead wall. We actually saw an interesting move by Jeff. Had Tempai.
Tempai, yeah.
Did not want to drop the south, which is twice cut. I think it's okay.
It would have been a bad Tempai, but even just for K10, that would have been okay. Like
right.
it would be a hell wait, but
Yeah, the 2-mon was already out, and
Gee.
so it would just be on the last 4-pin. But yeah, we are getting close to the end, and well, this is a better Tempai.
Now,
It's
do you
Hurricane, though.
believe in sushi is the question.
Surely not.
the Norths are gone as well. It's impossible to deal into sushi. There's 2 Norths and there's 3 Norths gone. One of them discarded by Rowan.
Oh,
But we've
you
seen
are
Jeff
correct.
be cautious, so not willing to take this Tempai. And Rowan still battling to find Tempai. Still Lee Shanten here. By the way, Suanko Lee Shanten on the left.
Oh,
5-mon is gone, though.
and Tuna.
Being held by Jeff, who will actually might be able to prevent TJ from getting Tempai. If you can call for Tempai, TJ, you need to do so here. Doesn't get a call, doesn't draw into it, and neither will Rowan.
This is the second time we've seen this tonight.
Yeah, this
Interesting.
one's different from the last one, though. The last time everyone was really pushing for it and just wasn't getting good draws. This time, Rowan had an it was Rowan who had who was in Tempai and said, I want to be a little bit greedier. I want to get more value out of this. Jeff also found Tempai and was too concerned about the South dealing into a very expensive hand to push it. And the other two were also trying to remain closed. I think TJ in particular saw that Suwanko didn't want to open that hand up. I'm not sure if TJ even had the opportunity to open there, but in the end, 4 players, no 10.
And now Rowan already open once again. 2 Shanten, though, without a pair.
Dora Hatsu comes out of Jeff's hand early. Not surprising given this hand. Looks like Riji Tanya Pinfu. Really difficult to use Adora there. You can't get Pinfu with Adora pair. You can't get Tanya either. So that's the same value essentially.
Gee.
In that instance, it makes a lot of sense to get rid of the Dora early before someone can call it. We see a second call on the left for Rowan Ishanten now. Across the way, TJ is maybe thinking about calling this for Itsuno. What's a pass? I think that'd be a little bit too aggressive here. There is a Dora in hand, though. I might even be thinking about Honitsu as a way of being able to incorporate it.
Oh, what? Okay.
Okay, Tenpai found ops for the Tonki instead of the Nobiton shape.
This is definitely a
try to
non-traditional cut.
Right. I think maybe thinking wanted to go Tonki now and switch to maybe Dora Tonki later on, but you can still do that if you had just taken the Nobiton initially.
Usually you drop from the edges, either the 1-mon or the 5-mon to leave yourself with the Nobiton. Say you drop the 5, you're left with a 1, 2, 3, 4 shape. And if you drop the 1, you're left with the 2, 3, 4, 5 shape. Gives you 2 tiles to win on, no matter which way you do it. In this case, we only have the 5-mon. And now Jeff has called it to Tenpai, matching the speed of the player to the left. It's Tanyao only waiting on 4-7 pin.
which there are 3 left in the wall.
And if we had taken the 1 4-mon weight, would have sumoed here.
Now
And
we're
now is
What a
Furiton.
310.
I have a theory though. I have a theory that Rowan was aiming for the 5-mon, but the mouse shifted a little bit too far and hit the 4.
That does happen.
Happens to me more often
worry
than I'd
about
like
it.
to admit. But here's a Tsumo for Jeff. Will claim the 1500 points plus Homba and continue on his dealer. Ooh! Love to see Dora pair.
If only there were other good shapes in the hand.
Yeah, the only other good shape is the 3-4 pin, and every single block elsewhere is Kanchan, Penchan, floating tile. Once you call the door, though, it does tend to buy you some time as players try to work around what you were putting together.
Especially as dealer.
Yeah.
Thomason's hand, though, is going to be very fast, it seems.
2 away from Tenpai for Tanyao. TJ across the way has so many honor tiles. It seems like that hand's destined to become a fold at some point, but charging forward. Rowan has the tune. We'll see how long it gets kept. Because we know what's going to happen to it once it's discarded. In this situation, Tucker, do you tend to drop the tune early if you were sitting in Rowan's seat, or would it be like right around now that you drop it?
Now that I have the other Hatsu, if I hadn't drawn the Hatsu, it probably would have left right about then. But with the other Hatsu, I would be considering the ability to make it a Dorotanki. With so many pairs in hand, it probably would end up leaving either this draw or next draw, but with some other ability to make a Yaku, regardless of whether we draw another tune or not, that makes it a little bit easier to hold on to.
Of course, the longer that it stays in hand, the harder it feels to discard, especially because you haven't seen any other come out. Well, Ishanten now. Ishanten, unless you're committed to holding that door in hand.
Right. It'll be interesting to see if a chance to call for Tenpai comes and if that gets taken. Kind of feels like Rowan is dreaming that we'll draw the second tune or pair up the tune and just drop for one of the other pairs first.
Uh-oh.
As we see Jeff DC temporarily, hopefully.
Ooh, that 7-pin would have been very nice too. And now the tune's gonna come out.
And can't be called because of the disconnect. That is so sad. But it now connects back to see the tune in the discard. So this is
Free 10 again.
and not only Huriten, but no Yaku.
Yeah, Rowan is a little bit of a newer player, has not been playing for quite as long. And so some of those like instinctive things that you learn to look for, like Furiton, slightly better weights, like small abilities to upgrade, might still be learning that.
Right. And sometimes you just get in your head, you're like, all right, I'm going to pull in this Yaku high. That's going to be my Yaku. Then I'm going to get a good shape elsewhere. And that's your plan. And then you get to the state where you're Tenpai, you forget you haven't gotten the Pon yet. And so you say, oh, this is a good shape. It's an upgrade, but you actually don't have a Yaku. Well, now we can see a call. There it is, into Tenpai. And this Tenpai does have a Yaku.
It's so, yes!
Oh, dodged!
Oh,
two 8-so Tonkies!
What's going to win? And, oh no! Thomason.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
9-so Tonki didn't look. 9-so Tonki was dead, so didn't take it. Nice. Do we see the switch to 2-pin? We don't.
2-pin safe, good cut. Chi into
Oh,
Tenpai.
Chi for Tenpai? Oh, no, it gets
No! Oh my goodness. I know Jeff wanted to call that, but got denied. And instead, it's going to be Haku Honitsu and Hatsu. That will be the double deal-in from Thomason, who had just found Tenpai with that call. In the end, though, as the dust settles, Thompson's still in first place.
It is
As
just
far as
now a
double
much
runs.
tighter game.
Yeah. As far as double runs go, that's pretty tame. Or tame-ish.
Right. I mean, Honitsu you can be expensive, but that was not the Dora suit. Well, I guess Dora was an honor, so that doesn't matter as much. But given the fact that Dora could have been paired up in that hand, um, you only paid out 3,900, so that's okay. That was the minimum amount you were going to pay to that hand, and then the other hand just being 1,000 is totally acceptable. So it moves to Thompson's dealership in South 2. The ability to accept the door is there. Difficult shapes, couple 8, 9 penchant that need to be worked around. I would like to see the 9 pin and then 8 pin cut over the 9 so 8 so here. TJ on the right has a door in hand as well as South. That's Sea Wind and Round Wind. So opponent of South would be moving towards a 3 Han hand potentially, or even 4 if you compare up the Dora. That's actually Ishanten already for. Oh, I thought that was a 3-4-5. Well, now it's a 3-4-5 for Ishanten. For TJ, across the way, we see a Chi for Tanya Dora 2, perhaps. Not sure what's going to happen with those 1 pins, but presumably they'll be cut later on. And on the left, Jeff has an Ishanten hand, but for Richie Dora, maybe Pinfu, you can get the 3 pin draw.
And on the right, TJ had a choice between discarding the 5 pin and taking this headless Anko Ishanta. So it could have drawn 1 so, 2 so, 5 so, 6 so, 7 so into Tenpai. But instead opts to just start cutting from the 1 2 so shape first, even though 2 so is Dora.
I see I drew the 5 so, and then realized.
Just hoping. Oh.
Tenpai.
Oh, Dora Pawn.
But Rowan not Tenpai. 3 calls and still Ishanten. And then we get Tenpai from Thomason, waiting 5 on 8 mon for Ricci, Tanyao, Pinfu.
Yep.
That's really aggressive.
Yeah. Maybe Dealer has started to realize Rowan, even when calling, is not finding Tenpai as fast as the calls would indicate. So feels comfortable taking this call, or taking this Ricci. Con gets skipped. Doesn't want to give extra value to Dealer's Ricci.
This is
Sumo.
Atsumo.
It is Sumo. Pinfu, Tanya. Noura, 26 all.
Yeah, Thomason, this game has just been winning just about everything. Also, the deal-ins have come from Thomason too, but definitely outwinning those deal-ins. If you just keep winning more than you give up, then you're gonna end up in a pretty good spot.
Would you call this hand a good hand?
I wouldn't call it a good hand, but I wouldn't call it a bad one either. There is a chance at Sun Anko, which is not a Yaku I usually consider. I tend to prefer to build my hands horizontally with sequences rather than vertically with Anko and pairs and things like that. So that in my eye, this looks awkward, but other players look at this and say, "Oh, easy toy, let's go."
It is certainly headed in that direction with the 7 pin draw. You just wish that the 6 mon and 7 pin were maybe a little bit more outside.
With that 8 mon Anko, it does get a little harder to use the 6 mon. But okay, the right, we have a Dora 5 pin, and what looks like it could turn into a Tanyao for TJ. Across the way, Rowan with the several pairs, 4 pairs in fact. We'll see if that turns into a Chitoi or if Rowan finds another way to make use of all of these shapes. And on the left, more pairs, 4 more pairs in that hand, and the ability to call the Haku. So 3 kind of pair-based hands, and then you have TJ who's got the Anko.
You could even think you could toss 1 2 pin here and even think 7 8 9 Sanshoku if you're Tom.
Yeah, that is an interesting out.
Didn't go that way, but
A little bit difficult when you have so many pairs.
Right. And this 5 mon draw, it looks like opting to just stick with the set-based hand will Wonder if we'll see a willingness to just call this down for Toy Toy.
It does feel like that's the direction that dealer's trying to move in here. Otherwise, you would drop something like the 9 Mon or the 9 Pin.
Right.
Okay, question. Who here is a Cheat Toy fan? Because Jeff on the left hasn't seen the Haku yet, and at some point you have to wonder if you're Mochi Mochi and if you should just be going for Cheat Toy instead.
Boom.
Here's the 9 so call. And on the left, I mean, those aren't really that great Cheetoy tiles, like in terms of final weight. So
They're
I'm
not.
sure.
Yeah, there's an issue there. If you were going to go for Cheetoy, you really needed to keep Ninemon, Chun, Pay, like those, all the tiles that you discarded in your first row really would have been better for Cheetoy. Like at a certain point, it's not necessarily just do the tiles I have make me think I should go for Cheetoy, but also is there any other hand that's likely to complete? And this hand is just like not it. Now with the 5-pin draw, we're finally Ishanten for the Cheetoy.
Yeah, I play this the same way as Jeff in the early stage. It really looks like you're just going to call the Haku and make a quick hand, and then you just never saw the Haku and your tiles weren't coming together even for a normal hand. And at some point, I feel like, okay, this just isn't happening as a normal hand. I need to do something else. And you're right. If you're forcing Cheetoy, you definitely would like some of these trickier weights as a final weight. But I think early on with the shape of the hand, it is proper to play it standard. And now, I mean, Jeff did commit early with the 6-0 after drawing the Dora, and then drew another Dora and the 7 came out. And so...
Oh, there's the Haku.
It's late, though. Can you actually... No. Maximizing Cheetoy efficiency.
Staying with the Cheetoy. The 4-so is actually pretty nice, Nakasuji, but may not matter given how late the game is now.
Right. And no one else has been able to find... Oh, I say that until Rowan draws the 6-pin 4-temp. I would be dropping Dora to wait on 3-pin Penchon. And for that reason, Rowan says, you know what? Let's get rid of this Penchon. I can find a Tempai that uses this Dora.
Thomas and
Right.
Ishanten now.
Should also be Ishanten on the right as well for TJ. So everybody here, Ishanten, looking for that one tile. Will we see another Gyukyoku that has no players Tempai? We've seen 2 of those already in this series.
That doesn't help TJ's hand. This would help Rowan just for K10, which honestly, I feel like at this point might have been worth taking that call for K10.
Yeah, I think
You
I
only
would.
have 2 draws left.
Oh, another Tempai, but you have to drop 5-pin.
Do you trust it?
No.
I
Tempai.
mean, I don't know. It would be pretty bonkers if Tom was Tempai waiting for a 5-pin. Not that it's impossible, but
Right. But if it is a Toy, then you're dealing into a monster. At least 12,000 points, if not more.
Right.
In the end, nobody Tempai. We go to South 3. South 3 is the round where I always look at the positions. For TJ as dealer in 4th place, your goal is very obvious. You just keep winning hands. But what should the other players be considering here, Philip?
So with the floating Uma in ARML, I think both Rowan and Jeff are probably just looking to get, at least in South 3, I would think it's still okay to aim for maybe 2 Han or higher, try to get right back above 30k, but also be willing to fold away if Ricci comes out, since you don't want to risk dropping so far away from the 30k mark while chasing with a smaller hand that you put yourself too deep to actually get back in, since you only have a minimum of 2 hands left.
So you're telling me that if you were Jeff here, you would not be going for the Kokoshi that it appears Jeff is going for.
Well, if I were Jeff, I would have already dealt into Kokoshi like 3 hands ago.
Well done, Philip. Oh, goodness. Well, We'll see if Jeff pulled it out. I mean, we might see the Ricci you were alluding to. It's TJ, already shot 10. Wants to call South or Chun, hasn't seen any because the South just got paired up on the left, and the Chun's being held by the Kokushi player.
Ooh.
Thomason forcing that whole Nitsu here. I mean, well, forcing maybe is a bit strong. It's you have the blocks for Honitsu, but that 3-4 mon shape is just so much better than the 8-9 so.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Thomason can afford to play for the more valuable hand here, just given the current point situation.
And also
Kind of
Thomason.
needs,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, based on the standings as well, Thomason should still be playing a little bit more greedy. I like this.
Yeah, that's fair. And also Thomason has seen on the left 4 so cut, 2 so cut, 8 so cut, mon cut, pin cut. It's kind of an obvious kokushi at this point. So you're expecting to see more so tiles, even the 7 so that Thompson desperately needs. Oh no, this is Tempai.
Senpai for Cheatoy.
It's not the Tempai you wanted, but Tempai you got. Not taking the Ricci here. I wonder if TJ's going to wait for a trickier wait.
Yeah, three pin isn't what you want, especially once cut with no Pinzu in your discard pile. As soon as Jeff draws the 7 so, discard something else. 5 so is honestly a little bit better here.
A little bit.
And maybe there's some concern about the green dragon not being. Oh, it did come out on the left just last turn, and then followed by Rowan on the right. Ooh.
Alright, here's your better weight.
Each.
Yeah, you can see 3 2-pin out. Well, I guess that's really making the 1 pin 1 chance.
Right.
Yeah, to the other players, 1 pin might feel dangerous against you, but to your eye, you think they're in the wall because the hand to the right's Tanyao. Toyman might have 1 or 2 being Kokushi, and the hand on the left, it's probably difficult to identify that as Honitsu, but if you have done so, then they don't need pin tiles at all.
Yeah, so Dora is Hatsu this game. The Haku indicator is over across the table for Jai and chat.
Oh yeah, Jay. The dragon, what order is what? Green dragon, red dragon, white dragon. It's conveniently alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Kokushi
There it is!
Oh, this is
boy.
big. 96 minimum. No, it'll flip.
Ooh.
But that's exactly what TJ was looking for. And now the rest of the table's in trouble. TJ is the player who's aiming to get over 30,000, even chase down Thompson for first place. Rowan, Jeff, on notice. I mean, they're at 24-4, 24-8 respectively, but in 3rd and 4th place. All of a sudden, things have tightened up considerably here. All right, TJ, can you keep this dealer run going? This hand is actually Dianchan 10, but you would love to draw around this 5 so. 6 so Dora draw would be amazing. Even 5 pin's good. Turn that 7-9 shape into a 5-7-9 shape. And then Rowan on the right has just drawn a Dora and completed a block. 2 away from Tepai there. Across the way, Jeff has several pairs, could turn into Tanya, and there's a Dora in hand. On the left, we have Thomason, who can. Did Thomason have the ability to call the Hatsu, or was that just drawn afterwards?
I think it was just drawn. I may be wrong though.
If that was the case, it was passed, but maybe rewarded because now there's a Dora pair in hand.
Interesting. As TJ there, you draw the 4 so to get your shape around the 5 so. What would you have discarded from that hand?
For me, the standard cut would probably be Formon, since the overlap on the Formon gives you, it forms the 4-6 mon shape, which accepts 5 mon, but that's already being accepted by the 6-6-7 mon shape. And dropping the 9 pin just means you can't accept 8 pin anymore.
but not
you
punished
know,
for that at all. Just drew the 6-pin, and then the connector in the Sosu. So it'll be Ricci Pinfu for TJ.
never punished.
5-8 pin.
1
Sorry, 5-8 Mon is the weight. There are 6 in the wall. Looking good for Itsumo.
Thomason just going for the uh, Tanya here with 2 Dora in hand. Enough value to just chase this dealer Ricci down.
Yeah, maybe with the 2 Dora saying, I don't believe you have value that I should be scared
Sumo.
about. But TJ will find the Tsumo. Ricci Tsumo Pinfu will check the Ura. Misses, but still 1300 all. And more Homba found as well. TJ running it up here, over 30,000 now, and only 5,800 points away from tying for first place. And that's just a dealer 3 on
what
hand.
Yeah. This is the power of a dealership, you know, when you get these good dealer runs going, you're really making use of that 1.5x dealer bonus.
Mm.
You can make these huge comeback situations more feasible.
This hand might be a little bit more difficult for TJ to pull together. Penchan in the Penzu, Kanchan in the Sozu, Kanchan in the Manzu. But if you keep getting draws like this, you could find a Ricci, maybe just Ricci Nomi, but that is a Tenpai. It's a hand that can win. Rowan on the right has improved one of the shapes, has awkward so shapes, but there's a door in hand. And Rowan, of course, all the incentive of the world to fight with Ricci +1 if it must be that hand. Jeff across the table has great so shapes. In fact, 2 blocks completed and a pair already. So just hoping to draw around this 4-pin and this 4-mon for Tenpai. And the Thomason on the left has the pair of Chun, hasn't been able to call it yet. Jeff draws one but holds it, committed to preventing Thomason from rapidly calling the way to Tenpai. And if you are Thomason on the left, you move to Honitsu.
No.
Fair, just trying to end the tension.
I would have taken the tune though.
Yeah,
Just
I would.
with 1200 in the middle, especially.
Yeah, I think the Chun call is pretty standard, and just moving into a really nice Yushanten.
1
In terms of moving over to Honitsu, I think for me, I could consider it if I got a lot of really good Honitsu draws. But the 3-mon, 4-mon shape, I mean, your mon blocks are actually really, really good, and so you can accept a lot of calls, but if you expect your Kame-cha, or Jeff in this case, to play really tightly, then it may just be easier
Come.
for you to take the faster hand.
All right, what does Khan give us?
The new Dora is the Green Dragon, which is already gone. Sad day.
That's exciting. Oh, okay, maybe Thompson just knew that the 3rd Chun was in the wall waiting to be drawn. And not discarding the 7-pin. This is a little concerning because this late into the game, if someone declares Ricci, you don't really want to be dropping a tile so close to the Dora. But Thomason will get the call into Tenpai here, waiting 2-pin, 5-pin just came out. We'll see if it gets followed up. Yeah, you said 3 more 2-pin. There's 2 2-pins and 1 5-pin left. For Chun only. Okay. Oh. Dora.
You switch. Wants the Dora.
Yeah.
Oh wait. And there's the 5
Oh.
pin, but that's an easy shift.
Slide.
If you recognize it. Fair
Oh.
enough. Doesn't want to drop anything near the Dora. We'll just break Tenpai.
Right.
Alright, because that was Ishanten. But hoping to pair up 5 or 8-pin for the Tenpai.
Dealer stuck in Ishanten hell for a little bit now.
Jeff was actually Ishanten for So
Boom.
Chinitsu entirely closed. Oh, Pon into Dora Tanki Toy Toy Chun. This is now a Mangan.
Yike.
1
And now we
Fine.
have the 5 pin, 8 pin weight
Oh,
for Rowan.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness. This is such a bad tile.
4
It comes out though for Tenpai. Ricci, Putz, Pingfu, Tanyao. Check the Uda. There's 2 of them. Misses it on it all.
But that's gonna drop. I mean, that's gonna drop Tom all the way down to 3rd here.
You're right. All of a sudden, things getting very congested around the 30,300, this 33,000 mark. Just say
What a
32 average.
devastating- Really sad deal in for Tom there, or Thomason.
Mangan
But-
Tempai and just drew the wrong tile in the Abatsu turn.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to
Oh.
fold out in that position.
Yeah, for sure. Because what are you going to fold there? Are you going to just give up Tempai and throw away your tunes?
Exactly. You can't drop Dora, right? So the only real play was to go Chun Chun Chun, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that requires just giving up on just this huge hand that you've taken so long to build. Very hard to get away from. I probably would have just dealt in as well. I'm not that disciplined.
And that doesn't put Thompson out of it, though. Still very close to first place and has Dora pair looking at the hand across the way. The rest of the shape's not good. But if you can draw around them, get that Dora call, you're looking to claim first again. Rowan in 4th place is our dealer. We just saw a dealer go on a run. TJ in the last hand run all the way up into first place. So we'll see if Rowan can do the same with these shapes. This is actually 2 away from temp. Now let's make it Ishanten with a 6 draw. What do you drop here? Oh, 4 pin.
I'd probably drop 9 Mon.
Yeah, I think the
9
choice
is
is
standard.
yeah, 9 mon or 9 pin would be acceptable. In my mind, 4 pin still keeps the Ishanten though. Really looking to confirm the 7 pin. You know, the reason I like the 4 pin in hand is because we can draw around it with a 5 pin or even a 3 pin. Although the 3 pin draw is less helpful because the 2 pin has come out already. So maybe just trying to avoid the Fuditen issue was Rowan, and that's the reason it comes out here. Which, if that's the thought, that does make some sense. But look
Really,
at
the 2 pin probably should have been kept. Like that's likely when the 8-9 pin Chan should have been dropped. Keep the 2-4-6 Ryan Khan having the 7-8-9 in hand. Although now it's just might be making a shift towards Tanyao.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. And if you do end up going that direction, say with a 4 so pawn, you could even find 6, 7, 8 Sanshoku.
Yeah, we love Sanjiku on the broadcast.
Absolutely, it's our favorite hand. Outside of Yakuma, certain Yakumans, of course. To the right, Jeff is what 2 away from Tempai here.
And TJ's Ishanten for Chitoi.
Ooh, always a tricky hand to put together, and looks like it's going to end up on the Dora weight, unless TJ can find the last one, because we still have Thomason waiting for a draw. I mean, Thomason has been drawing really well. When we first looked at the hand, it was the Dora pair and nothing else really going for it. But now it's actually 2 away from Tempai.
Yeah, and really just hoping for that Haku pawn. But the only other Haku we see currently being held for Chitoi.
Really, it's a question of where that last one is. There's Tempai. Wow, 6 pin draw.
You take this Haku Tom,
Eat.
don't you?
I think so.
You don't really need to Ricci though. The Ricci is honestly scary here. You make it so much easier for anybody to pass you.
Yeah.
Tossing that 1K stick out. I mean, Thomason even. I mean, would sumo? Well, I guess you can't sumo Pinfu Nomi, can you?
But for Jeff, I mean, any one on hand will do it. Jeff Tempai here, just Damas, realizes that with the 4 Mon being Genbutsu, safe to the Ricci, it might come out, and there it
There
is.
it is.
And because of the Ricci stick, this is enough for first place.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeff snatches it away, and all last, plus 19.4. CJ will take the second, TJ. I see that C raise, and I just want to put the C there in front of the name. Plus 8.1 for second place. And Thompson, unfortunately, with that deal, and will drop below 30,000, just 300 points below. We'll take a negative score as a result, negative 5.3. And Roan will take the 4th place in this game, negative 22.2. And, well, that was game 4 of the series. That was the final at this group, it's Jeff, who continues to climb, and with that result, will just barely eke out Barry for the top of the C1 division. Congratulations, Jeff. 7-5-4 and still 0 fourth places with 2 sessions remaining. We'll obviously be keeping a close eye on Jeff to see if he can pull it out for the remainder of the season. TJ continuing to climb. Rowan still right about that middle mark. And Thomason still at 23rd place. In the C1 league, you don't have to worry about demotions, so you can go all out for the promotion slots. And in this division, outside of being in one of the top 6 places, it's just important that you finish positive. You'll always have a chance to promote if you are positive.
Yeah, really tight game all the way up until the last moment. Thomason leading for a good portion of the match, but had a couple of fairly unfortunate deal-ins towards the end. And even in that final round, still had a chance to take back first, but dealt into the Dama Pinfu.
Now I'm looking at
But
the schedule for the games that are going to happen soon. We have a multitude of games that are going on right now. It's actually kind of hard to keep track. Like 5 games are being played currently, and I'm just trying to decide which table to watch. I'm seeing a B3 matchup that just started 2 minutes ago. That's the most recent one. If we wait a little bit, some matches should start around the top of the hour. What do y'all think?
That B3 table should be a really good one to see. It has Brett, infamous leader of the negative gang, and then Jen, a pro, and then Emily and John, who are probably also really dope people, but I mean, I can't off the top of my head.
Yeah, I have some
John,
info. I mean, I watched Emily play last season and ended up being in one of the playoff matches. It was really exciting one to watch. So Emily, definitely fun player to watch. And John is actually substituting this season.
Was Emily in the playoff match with Jen?
I believe that was the case. Or was she with? Actually, I'm not 100% sure.
let's check those standings.
Either way, I need to go take care of a diabetes thing real quick. I will be right back.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, I have the game loaded, so we can hop on in. I don't have the names set up here, so I'll grab that in just a second. But in the meantime, we're hopping in East 1. John is our first dealer. Jen is sitting to the right. Emily across the table. Brett, of course, on the left. And we have already seen a Mangan win from John, and now declaring Ricci very early on in this hand for Ricci Dora 1. It seems like we've missed a bit of excitement here.
Yeah, John just nines this early Ricci. Bad way, but when your dealer, the early Ricci pressures the board, slows the hand down, everyone can't develop their hands as freely as they'd like. And we can see everyone just trying to Mawashi around a bit, hoping to not deal into this.
Now, when you play and you get this position where you had that 2-3-3-4 shape, the 6-6-7-9 so shape, do you take this Ricci, or do you say drop the 9 so and hope to draw into a better shape later on?
I would say that I generally take this Ricci. I do think that the upgrades here are really nice. The acceptance of those shapes is super wide. But I'm also a big believer in the fact that I cannot draw upgrades to save my life. And I also do think that the upgrade in value doesn't really warrant waiting around for it and letting someone else hit Senpai super easily. Because in this case, I would say our best draws are basically only going to give us Pinfu at best. And I don't think the one Han upgrade is really enough justification for me to wait around for anywhere between, I could wait to get it next turn and be happy, or I could be 5 turns deep and deal it to someone else, right?
Yeah, in the end, Emily does deal in after reaching Ishan then, played some strong defense, and when her hand became ready to push, did end up needing to discard that 8 so into what ended up being just Riichi Nomi no Ura found. And so John...
Ricci Dora.
Oh, sorry. Did I say Riichi Nomi? I've got New York on my mind. John will
How about New
continue the
York?
dealer streak. And this high buy, it's got some conchons to fill, but there are a couple good floaters here too. So we'll see if John can improve these shapes. Doors the south, we see one in hand for Jen on the right. That is the seat win for her. However, one has already been discarded. So we'll probably hold on to it in the hopes of pairing it up, but we'll be prepared to discard it later on as the hand shapes up. Across the way, Emily already with the Chun Anko. This is quite strong. Could be looking at Riichi Chun, and has the ability, of course, to open up the hand should other players start to look scary. On the left, Brett also holding a Dora, but this is not very useful outside of just being a pair. The hand already Ishan 10. If you can find the 6-0, could Riichi with Pinfu.
Yeah, and holding on to this Dora here is actually not that bad. You can always pair up the Dora and drop away from your 8-mon pair that you have currently. Or, since it's once cut, you can also, you may also believe that the south is fairly safe, even as the game goes on, so you can just keep that as a safe tile to discard when you hit Tenpai.
Jen did actually get rid of it like right in the middle of that thought, which is kind of funny. The once cut honor Dora is such an interesting case. I feel like as someone who plays a lot of Sanma, I'm horrified. Like if someone calls Ricci, I'm never cutting. Like once cut honors might as well be live or worse than live. They are so often like really good Tonki weights.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong, actually. I do think it's probably the last thing I would want in my hand, or the last thing I would discard from my hand if someone recheat. But I do think once cut honors are generally pretty safe to hold on to, even though they are Dora.
This is a really interesting Ricci from Jin. It's Ricci Nomi, but there is a bit of foo here. 12 foo from the two Ankos. Is waiting 1 pin, 4 pin, and 3 of the 1 pin are in the discards. And we can actually see 4 more of those tiles in hand, so only 1 tile left for Jin to draw from the wall. And that 8-mon was a fake deal into dealer, now has shifted to 5-mon, 8-mon. So now the 8-mon would be a legitimate deal in to Tanyao Pinfu, but is not chasing with a Ricci here.
Right.
Brett has
now that
8.
8-mon is Genbutsu to the Ricci, wants to take this higher win rate Dama.
Brett has an 8-mon to discard, but is actually pushing for this hand with the 2-mon pair cut. Ishan 10 for Pinfu.
Actually, John could end up shifting sideways towards Rionpeiko here. Just tosses the 5 pin though. I mean, if you're gonna toss 5 pin, I feel like you might as well toss the 2.
Yeah, it is half Suji to the 8 pin that came out. Maybe that was the reasoning why.
Suji doesn't exist.
In the
Suji
end,
doesn't exist. Half Suji does exist. You take those.
yeah, Pinfu Tanyao does end up winning out as Brett got the Tenpai, the only Tenpai that managed to deal in probably one of those 7s. And okay, I just saw something really exciting in a couple of these hands. I want to look at the Anko and the pairs in Emily's hand across the way. And also Brett with all these Mon tiles and a Dora.
Yeah. So now the question is Brett willing to drop this Dora shape to go to sell out for the Chinitsu? Honestly, probably doesn't even need to fully sell out, since the 789 or 789 77899 shape is really bad. Needs that 8-mon fill in.
Yeah, I think Ricci, Ipeco, Dora. That's an acceptable win. And these draws really haven't been pushing Brett towards Chinitsu either.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It's interesting too, thinking about Brett's position overall in the standing, because being right there at the demotion line, but not quite in demotion yet, like you need to push forward. But if you play too aggressive, you risk sinking yourself. So there's this really awkward interfacing you have to do between trying to get out of the negatives and also keeping yourself from falling further.
Mm.
Well, maybe you don't have to think too hard this hand, because dealer just Reachied again. Reachy Tanyo on the 2-pin, 4-pin. Chomp him. Not a lot of ways to upgrade his hand, so John just takes the Ricci. And 3 tiles left, surprisingly live for Chomp.
Well, then we have the chase from Emily across the way, waiting just on the 4-pin.
Had a choice, right? Could have chosen the 2-pin with a 5-pin discard, or the 4-pin the way this Ricci was taken.
Well, and Jin pushing is Ishanten and has 2 Dora.
Yeah, it's really difficult for Jed to play safe to both of these Riccis, so maybe pushing is just the best way forward.
There's Tempai, 8-mon 7-pin, and it's Tanyao, so it could just take Tanyao Dora 2 or Tanyao Dora 3. Oh, do we con? Con! And then flips the 1-mon as the new Dora. You could discard 7-pin here and take the Sanminchan.
But it's Dora. Can you afford to do that?
I don't think so.
Ooh.
Yeah, just gonna wait on the Dora Shabo.
Brett's hand all of a sudden looks like Chinitsu. But there's 2 Dora in that hand, and it's Ishanten. Could be Chitoi, could be Peiko. Oh, there's the 2-pin!
And in the end, dealer wins. Run from it, dread it. All the same.
It's interesting. If Jin had discarded the Dora, would have Epatsu mode the 5-pin and prevented that dealer win. Although obviously tossing Dora against 2 Richis is horrifying.
That's so hard to do. Right. I don't think there's any world where I could make that play.
Right. You have to toss the Dora and also give up value in your hand for, I mean, admittedly a much better weight, but very, very much against human nature and loss aversion.
Well, this is the dealership that never ends. John keeps winning again and again and again, and might win this hand as there's the Hatsupon. Not amazing shapes, but the ability to call them away like this. And John's looking at a Jianchanten, a few discards in. Jen to the right, also with some very awkward shapes. A lot of honor tiles that are still just floating around in hand as John fills the Penchan. He just fills those. Emily across the way has a pretty nice looking hand, actually. This is Ishanten. And now Tempai waiting on the Tuso. Brett holding almost all of the Tuso in hand on Tempai. Does John choose to push this?
No. Decides not.
It's gonna be so hard to play safe after this, though. Oh, just gonna get the Epatsu, though.
Wow.
Una found as well. That's a pretty massive win for Emily, who now takes over 3rd place. But that's what it takes for John to finally have to give up the position as dealer.
Yeah. You know, John, a regular in the ARML practice games channel, has been going on a bit of a bad beat recently in those practice games, jokingly saying that he was just building up flow for his sub game today, and lo and behold, is taking the table for a run with his first dealership here.
Yeah, Jen now the dealer with the Hatsu pair. But
how many people are Ishanten right now?
I mean, I see Emily is, and
I think there's 3. I think Brett and John are also Ishanten.
Yeah, Brett Ishanten, John also Ishanten. So unfortunately, the dealer has the slowest hand here. And this is a super wide one for Emily. 4-7 mono force 2-3-6 pin.
Wall does have favorites, it seems.
This is a good draw for John. Throws it back. It allowed you a chance at Ipeco. Could cut the 9-pin, but chooses to hold the shape. But now an improvement in the Monzu for John.
Nice.
Very
What-
interesting draw.
What is the 9-pin doing for us as in John's hand here?
Well,
Not
John
much.
says nothing anymore. It comes out.
But yeah, that is a good question to ask. 9-pin originally was just being serving as your third pair, and third pairs are not ideal to hold.
Ricci from Emily managed to pull the 3-pin for Tenpai. Drops the door, which is the Shaw. Does pass cleanly. So Ricci, Nomi waiting on 4 Mon, 7 Mon. Wait's not super live. There's only 1 7 Mon in the wall. And Jen is fighting for her dealership here.
I mean, how absurd is it that there were 3 players Ishanten on turn 3, and the first Tenpai wasn't until turn 9?
Yeah, that is pretty ridiculous. And we're going to see a fight from Brett. It is Ricci, Nomi as well, waiting on 3 Mon, 7 Mon, Shampon. So
One of each is cut, 2 left in the wall.
yeah, 2 players have the chance to sumo the 7-pin, and if anyone drop 7 Mon, I should say, if anyone drops it, it will be a double roll.
Oh, only 1 7-mon left in the wall, so 1 chance for double run.
This position gets really awkward for Jen now.
Right. Drops away from the 3-4 so block.
With the 6-pin cut, the 9-pin becomes safe, so that gives 2 tiles of breathing room. John also backing away from the sand. Oh, that's Ishanten. Jen can fight with the 8, so it's not safe to Emily's Ricci, but that will get pushed.
Right.
9 Mon, safe. 7 so still in the wall. We haven't seen it yet.
Ooh, this 5-pin is also safe, but 9-pin comes out first. And
Yeah. So the 2 players who declared the Ricci could not find that final 7 Mon. It was Deadwalled.
Jen starting with 4 5-pin.
That's fancy, and good shapes to accompany it.
Alright. Hit the button.
Not yet, but I imagine if we draw, say, 8-pin, we could see it, or even the 7-pin encourages you to call the con. Brett, though, look at this. There's 5 pairs. There's also Honitsu. Which way do you go?
After the call, I think Honitsu is pretty common.
I agree. Brett's hedging everything. Still has a choice to make. Toy Toy.
It's
Likes
go
the
Toy Toy.
But there is a chance it could be Honitsu still. If Brett draws specifically the 3-pin here, could go Forso cut, get Toy Toy Honitsu Yakuhai 3.
Ooh, what about the White
Ooh.
Dragon?
Now we're
fun.
getting a little exciting.
Unfortunately, John with the tune is gonna end most of our beautiful Yakuman dreams. But I mean, this could still easily win Shosangen.
Right.
It's so curious. If you're one of these other players at the table, you look at Brett's discards. 8 so probably not so Honitsu. 6 Mon, not Mon Honitsu. 7-4-3, not Pin Honitsu. What in the world could it be?
I mean, at this point, you're looking at this hand, and this is just 2 Yakuhai. Like that's what you have to read it as, I think. Like Toy is also obviously a possibility with
Right.
3 pawns, but I mean, Toy is just practically impossible to play defense against. All you can discard is Genbutsu, and you just kind of rely on, well, it's probably a bad weight, so shrug. Oh, and then that flips the south is the Dora.
Well,
So
all of a
now
sudden,
this is Toy Yakuhai 2, Dora 3.
yeah, not just Toy Toy anymore.
If you win on the tune, it's a Baimon.
There's a 4 so, but it's held.
And Brett actually drew a second Haku there. Could have actually won the Shosangen.
Oh my goodness. And it comes out.
Zoinks.
Toy Toy Nan Hatsu Dora San. That's Hanuman. 12,000 points going Brett's way. Brett, trying to make a play to catch John. I mean, it has a long way to go. Still about 20,000 points out, but
But
that's
two
a start.
dealerships.
You're right. This is only East 4, and Brett starts with the Chun Anko and chance at 789 Sanchoku plus Chanta
Ooh, this is a fun one.
to the
I
right.
guess your pair would have to be the East, I suppose.
East or one mon, yeah. You know, maybe I'm dreaming a little bit about the possibilities of his hand, but it's something to consider. The hand on the right looks like a bit of a mess here.
Oh.
There it was.
Yeah, that's especially sad because it's double East. But, of course, Brett still has a callable hand here. Jen, across the table, very nice hand as well. Lots of pairs, though. We'll see if this can be anything more than just Tanya. Maybe if you Ipeko now that you've drawn into that shape in the Sozu. And on the left, Emily has kind of like a Ricci Nomi. If you could draw up a pair of 3 mon, you could get Ipeko. But I always hate relying on that side, on that type of draw.
I'm just gonna hop in here and say that hand is going to become Cheat Toy.
Yeah, 4 pairs. You do have Diamond shapes and the ability to accept Dora, so okay, never mind. You're right. You're right. I just always trust Ennui.
Yep.
Oh, Brett.
When we said Cheetoy, it became Cheetoy.
Ishanten with the Sanchoku chance actually drew the hard to fill shape, the 7 mon. However, that means that your Sanchoku isn't guaranteed because you could get the 6 pin or the 6 so instead of the 9.
I
Oh,
almost would have preferred discarding the Formon. Well, I guess Eitso and Hatsu are practically useless since we've already discarded a Hatsu, but the Formon isn't doing much, and if we draw some other terminal or honor, getting rid of that Formon and leaving the ability to pair up to move towards Chanta and discard the 3-mon pair would not be a bad move.
Yeah, I think Brett's trying to be very sneaky here and set up a trap on the 9 so. With an 8-7 cut like this, it does seem rather tricky, difficult for
Oh my
9 to
God.
be the weight.
San Anko waiting 3-mon, 6-mon for Jin. 2 Anko upgrades exist.
Would have even had Tenpai for Suako if the 6 mon had been, or 6-0 had been kept, but of course you can't know you're drawing that. Sanako
Right.
Tanyao right now. Oh, that's a deal in tile. I think Brett has to deal in here. Dodges
Nope.
somehow.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know how, Brett, but you're doing it. Okay, I guess it makes sense to hold the 6 because you could have 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku instead. That's Brett's only out here. Needs to draw 6 pin or 6-0. Oh,
Ooh.
I think
Oh, I mean, you
I think
cheated.
we're cheating
This
that.
6-mon.
No.
Yeah.
And
Tanya San Anko.
And well, Jen will recoup some of the Hanemon deal in, half of it. So climbing back into things here, Brett still over 30,000 as we move into the south round. What an exciting hand!
There have been some friggin' hands here.
Well, this looks like it might go a little bit more slowly. Just looking all around the table.
Yeah, only 2 people have Yako high pairs.
Yeah, only Brett's only Dian Shantan. Still looking for a door to help fit. Let's see. Looks like that Penchan shape needs filling out. And Jen doesn't really want to call this Haku, I don't think, but if players keep opening like this, she might have to just to.
Ooh, you don't have to open for Haku if you just get rid of the Haku.
Yeah, there's more value in Ricci Tanya, perhaps.
John building another Cheetoy here.
How do you feel about Manhon Cheetoy?
I feel like the 9-so and the Hatsu were betrayals of the Menhon Cheetoy. Formon definitely needed to go first if that was in your head at all. I mean, really, you're hoping to draw 2-so or 5-so, presumably.
Yeah.
A little unfortunate that 2 of the 2 so have come out already, but Emily across the way, moving closer and closer to Tenpai. Oh, there's another 2 so. This is actually getting really difficult for John to put together.
Oh,
There we go,
inch
5 pairs
closer to
again.
Cheetoy. Here
Like,
it is. Ishan.
when
I would have loved keeping the Formon there. Formon is
Ooh.
such a good Cheetoy tile with that setup. You've already discarded the 1 mon. You have 2 of the 7 mon.
Ooh. Pei has not been seen yet.
Hey, it's quite
And-
good.
And Pei's just the best tile that exists, so.
They do say that the Pei Tonki is the best Tonki.
Sounds
It's
like
good.
the sayings of the utterly deranged. To
Hey, get out of here.
me.
Clearly, Philip doesn't play enough Sama.
Brett, why? Why the 7 mon, Brett?
Mm,
Could have had perfect Ishanten. Discarding either 5. Oh, well, just knew.
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
Didn't
Brett's just
matter.
better.
Ooh, but John's also got Tempai. None of these pin tiles look safe though.
Do you just fold here with your point situation? Folding is actually okay.
Yeah. No, it just pushes it though. 7 pin.
Alright.
And the 3 mon, 6 mon is.
つも
Oh, well, there it is. I was
Yeah.
about to say it's not that great of a weight.
Brett is just that good, you know? Built different. Eyes with X-rays machines inside.
I didn't find the maximum Mangan value there, but still a very nice pickup. Will give Brett some more breathing room over that 30,000 margin. Really looking at a positive score here and building up some ground on John, especially since John was the dealer, had to pay twice as much for the Oyakaburi. Jan, now dealer, at 8,900 points, is looking for anything to go her way on this dealership. Maybe we saw in the last set of games TJ running it back, and Jen with that penchant filled.
There
Shut
it
in already.
is.
Beautiful.
Doors in the north. We don't see any.
Now perfect Ishanten. If we could just slide this mon shape to the right some. Head towards the 3-4-5 Sanshoku a little bit.
There's
Well,
some time to do
we'll-
it.
We need 2 perf draws for that, right?
リーチ
Oh, but John's gonna get there first. Richie Pinfu. Waiting on the 4-7 so, but I think Jen's just gonna
Which
keep
is-
fighting here.
Yeah, and that's so live. There's 6 that's left on the wall.
That's incredible.
Yet another early Ricci from John.
John truly saving up the flow for this series. Brett, this north is such a pain in the side. You've dropped 1 already, but when the north seat declares Ricci, could
And
even be a
it's
Tonki.
Dora.
Exactly. Can't really drop Dora there. Tepai, and we'll see a
There's
chase.
Tepai. I mean,
Beach.
surely, right? In this position.
Yeah, in other positions, you don't want to risk it, but Jen has no reason to not fight for this. We'll see.
つも
7 comes out. There's a Ricci stick donation instead. Ricci, Tsumo, Pinfu, and no Ura. John
Yeah,
is locking
Jen,
in that first
unfortunately,
place.
yeah, Jen unfortunately has to eat another Oyakaburi there. And now it's running out of hands to climb back up. May just shift focus to keeping Emily underneath 30k.
That might be difficult with this hand, though. This is on the Mangan Express. Chundora 3 is within sight for Emily here.
Other hands look good around the table, though. Brett has excellent Diamond shapes as well as a pair already. Could go headless here. I mean, naturally, the 6-mon can be cut, or the 1-so probably. But just does choose the headless shape. Oh, now has an abundance of Yamen. So this is a very wide Ishanten for Brett. See if he can beat out Emily's hand that looks quite fast.
Do you take to save round then?
Down in here might not be
No.
so good because it's 8 so's twice cut and you have 2 to 5 so's. 8 so's also a
Does-
little bit difficult to use because it's near Dora and other players might be holding on to it.
Does keep it, though.
Oh, well,
Ah. The
give
punish.
it a chance to go back. well decides that the pins look better now. It is a
Yeah.
sign. Oh,
Oh,
And there's the
it truly was. This is not the way I expected it to go, but here we are. Ricci Pinfu, 2-5 pin.
4 left in the wall. This and an Ishanten for Jin.
there's no way you can read this as being a 2-5 pin weight, right? There's no way that 4 pin is just the greatest Sakigiri in the history of Mahjong, right?
Emily's fighting. That 6-0 is aggressive. That's super aggressive.
Yeah. Especially with that 5-so being the Ricci tile, you expect 6-so to be super dangerous since it's around that.
Well, she's found
this
Ishanten
card.
now.
And actually found Ishanten for Chanta Dora 2. Although Chanta would deal in on the 5 pin, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's tap by for Jen, and it's Ricci
2-5.
Tanyao, but she might just have to take it.
4
Unfortunately, deals in Ricci Pinfu, no Ura.
Yeah, this is unfortunately a really common play pattern. We saw it in the last game as well. If you find yourself in a deep fourth and it's not all last yet, you still have some chances to overtake third, you tend to play a little bit more aggressively, and that can result in you just falling further and further behind. Of course, in a league setting, that is a little bit painful, but Jen was pretty high up in the standings, and so has some points to spare, can afford to take a hit like this. Would still be in promotion zone even if the game were to end with this exact score.
Yeah, I mean, could lose 90 points and would still be in promotion zone.
Absolutely.
And
Well-
one, if you're looking at the positive side, that does move the game into all last, and so Emily needs to find a Hanuman in order to get back above 30k.
Right. And does that head look like a Hanema?
I need to flip some Ura, I think. to hit
I'm trying to make it like you draw the 4-so, get Tanyao.
5, 6, 7 Sanshoku.
Yeah, Ricci, Sanchoku, Tanyao, Pinfu, Tsumo. Ricci, Tsumo.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I think would Sumo also put you into second? I think so.
Yeah, it should. Oh, it'd be very close.
It'd
yeah,
be an
yeah, it will.
18k, yeah, by 500
Absolutely.
points.
Well, now we just need perfect draws.
Yeah, the plan is there. Now we just have to draw it. But it's always important when you're in this situation to think about exactly, if you got perfect draws, what your outs are, even if it seems unrealistic. And Jen actually has 2 Dora here, could build a Mangan, and if she hits Emily directly, that would exchange places. So even Jen has outs to get out of 4th place.
Which is good, because Hanuman Sumo is not enough.
Yeah, would
Be
only
300
10
short for Jin.
Right.
Yeah, 15,000 point swing. Would be just shy without Honma.
Ricci.
And there's Tempai. Not the 5, 6, 7 Sancho. This would be Ricci Pinfu. Ricci Patsumo Pinfu Ura 2. That's the path. We need Patsumo.
All right, let's start counting 5, Mon. 1, 2. The other 2 have got to be in the dead wall, surely. Nowhere else they could be.
Yeah, no way, right?
This is an excellent weight, though. 258 pin. You would expect to be able to win this.
リーチ
But Jen will fight back, and this is trouble. It's
There it is,
also a
Jen's-
Samenchan 147 Sos.
Ooh.
1 and 7, both Suji. Genputsu to the first Ricci. And with Ricci Door 2, if there's an Ura, that would be
ドン
Oh, the 2 pins!
gone. Brett fighting for it as dealer. Ricci Pinfu only. 2,000 points. Emily will confirm 3rd place. And Jen would have hit 2 Ura too. That would have been enough.
Ugh.
But Brett will secure 2nd place, even with that deal in. John takes the big 1st place, plus 43.1. Congratulations, John. And for Brett, moving up in the standings a little bit as well. Emily takes the negative 12.1, and Jen drops 41.4 points. However, as we get these scores updated, Jen will still be in the promotion zone. And I know Greg and Gaetano in 6th and 7th place, respectively. They were playing today. So perhaps we'll see this entire section of the standings fill out as the evening progresses.
Yeah. And I can actually just scroll through some of these game results. Looks like we had one table in B3 with Greg, Gaetano, Takahiro, and Michael. In that first match, Michael ended with a positive 26.5, Greg with a positive 10.1, Gaetano negative 12.1, Takahiro with a negative 24.5. From the graph, looks like it was a fairly tight game, not a lot of movement, and one Mangan that ended up having a big impact, it looks like. In B2, we had a game with Melissa, Kayla, Eric, and Ryan. Melissa walking out with plus 38, Kayla with plus 13, Eric with a plus 2.8, and Ryan with minus 53.8. Fortunately, a big loser in that round. Delton to just a bunch of hands in a row and ended up dropping down. John, from the first game of this series that we didn't catch, actually also took first place with a positive 39.7. It seems that the tanking practice games theory to build up flow is actually being put into practice. Brett came away with a positive 8.3, Jen took a small minus 5.2, and Emily had a minus 42.8. And then another Greg, Gaetano, Michael, Takahiro table. Greg had plus 28.5, Michael with plus 10, Takahiro minus 8.6, Gaetano negative 29.9. And some other games have been going on, and I've been rambling on about these scores. What do we think about the next table we want to spectate?
Yeah, I think this table is about to start another one, so I'm happy to stay right here.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, this has been a really good table to watch.
Yeah, I was also quite curious because I noticed this was game 2, that last one we saw. I was curious the result of the first one, but you said it was John taking it away, and that is, I'm sure John and the rest of the Wisconsin Mahjong group will be quite pleased with that result. I know John said that he's actually the only representative from Wisconsin Mahjong in the league right now, but has a whole club cheering him on. So we'll see John play not as a substitute, but for joining the C1 League next season, the summer season. Of course, if any of the viewers have not signed up for the summer season, registration is open. You can see that scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. The registration will be open until June 19th on our website, AmericanRicci.org. Hope to see you there for the exciting summer season. I feel like,
and if you haven't signed up yet, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, if you the only reasons not to would be if it is the case that you do not live in the United States and you're not a U.S. citizen.
yeah,
That's the only reason not to join. It's too good. It's too fun.
absolutely. And the scheduling is really flexible too. It's 2 weeks of a 2 weeks time period to schedule your 4 hanchan, and you don't even need to play them all at once. This table I think will, because of time zone differences. Jen is playing from Japan, I believe, but super flexible as well. Well, we see Brett will be our first dealer. Calls the double east already, has a door in hand. Could become quite expensive if that door gets paired up. To the right, John is working with a hand that looks quite difficult to put together. Lots of awkward shapes, Penchan, Kanchan. I'm almost preparing to fold when I see this double east call. I believe my hand is so much slower than the dealer's hand, and with much less value as well. Emily across the way, though, has a very pretty hand, Ishan 10 already, with potential pinfu if you can draw the 5-pin. And on the left, Jen also has an Ishan 10 here, headless now, so you could even find some good upgrade draws to make this a little bit more valuable than just Richinomi. This is Tempai for Jen, but not willing to take the Ricci on just the 8 mon.
Yeah, Ricci Nomi waiting on the ones cut 8 mon doesn't feel fantastic against the double east. Well, now you have Ricci Penfu Tanyao. That's a massive upgrade.
That's exactly the draw you were looking for at Jen, rewarded for the patience there. Philip, would you also have passed the Ricci there, or do you like just taking the early pressure?
As non-dealer, I think I would be okay with dominating. However, I am also very much a turn my brain off kind of person, so I think it's also likely I would have just pushed the button there. But I
ポン
do agree that Dama is the correct decision, given that you have a nice value upgrade if you get to 6 spawn, and also you're non-dealer, so
ドン
dealer is still likely to push against you anyway.
Which
That's
is what
ex-
happened.
Yeah. Oh, for Uda as well for the Mangan Gen getting out to a nice early lead here. And I think the point you brought out about dealer versus non-dealer is very important. If I'm dealer, I'm more inclined to take the Ricci than if I'm non-dealer. But I don't think it's necessarily wrong to take the Ricci and apply some pressure. In this case, it paid off quite well for Jen. And we'll move to John's dealership. This time, not starting off with that early lead. We'll see how John can catch up as dealer. Looks like he'll be trying to move this towards a Tanyao unless a 7 Mon is drawn. And even then, you can still work out a Tanyao. Towards the 5 pin, of course, that's pretty easy to use in a Tanyao hand. To the right, Emily is not going to be making Tanyao, it doesn't look like. Just a Ricci, potentially Pinfu, or maybe even Ipeko if you can draw well in the upper Sozu. Across the way, Jen has a Dora in hand. Looks like a Ricci Pinfu is the plan over there. On the left, Brett, working with one completed shape and a couple good diamond shapes as well, can work his way up to incorporate the 5-pin Dora, especially if a 4-pin is drawn, but those are starting to run out. And instead, we'll draw another diamond shape, so looking at a Ricci Pinfu potentially. If I'm John, I'm really happy about this 8-pin draw because it allows me to draw a 5-pin and use the 8-pin as the pair. The 2, 4, 4,
We do
5
already
so
have
awkward.
the 8 Mon as a pair, though. So we'd almost be better off still just shifting our 6-7-8 to a 5-6-7. Although the so shapes are also very awkward. So there's room for awkward here.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, that's an interesting draw. And this is what I was thinking. Like, we can cut away from our so shape, and if necessary, we could even pull the 8 Mon and work our way towards the
Ricci.
Tanya. But we're going to have a Ricci instead. Emily actually had found Tenpai in the previous turn, did not take the Ricci. Tsumogiri Ricci's on the 9-pin. Tonki wait for Ricci Nomi.
Pretty interesting. I don't think the 9-pin Tonki is necessarily bad,
Ooh, especially
and
now
it
that the 6 has
looks
come
less
out.
bad with the Suji drop. Maybe a little hesitant to Ricci initially, just because pin looks a little bit expensive on the board. You don't see a lot of pin tiles out, you see a lot of Mon and Sozu out. But also could have been, I think, may have
Oh,
wanted to wait for a value upgrade. Could have gone Dora Tonki at some point.
or even just a weight upgrade as well. There are many tiles that would give you, say, an odd yamen or a Nobitan shape, or even a multi-sided weight. But maybe said, you know what, it's taking too long to get there. I don't want to wait forever. I just want to take my Ricci so I can win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, John found
John
Tenpai. Oh, didn't take it though. Doesn't like the Hatsu cut or the 3 so. That's
is Furry 10 is the main issue.
I see. Oh, you could cut the 3 so and wait Hatsu Tanki.
We now have 3 so 6 so wait for Jin.
Oh,
Jin
what if he
actually
cuts
Jin actually had Tenpai a while ago, but was not willing to discard Dora into the Ricci and give up value.
Yeah,
Richira?
this deal-in is almost a win for Brett, not allowing the deal into Mangan, because Brett had this loose 6 so in hand. If it came out, would have been dealing into a lot more.
Right.
Yeah, Brett also had thrown out the 5-pin Dora right after the Ricci, so it looked like he was pushing.
Yeah, that 5-pin push was Umagiri as well, not even thinking about trying to fit it into the hand.
Yep, very
Just
spicy
immediately
stuff.
pushed it. Yeah. And John feeling a little bit of regret not just dropping the Hatsu and taking the Furita and Tenpai would have sumoed immediately on the next draw with the 5 so.
As
but
it is, we've got Emily, John, and Jen all over 30,000, but Brett's not too far behind. Emily here as dealer with uh, an okay hand. What is this? Dion Shantan. And that's a tile improvement. Just not a lot of value here. It's a little bit difficult to put together value with the 9 so being the Dora. Jen has one of those, but very awkward shapes. Could be Itsu for her in the Pinzu. And just throws out the Dora. Brett would love to call Pwn here. Might even do so if he sees Toy Toy. And I know he's looking at it.
It'd be a rough toy though.
ポン
Yeah, that's why he's hesitating, but decides, you know what, this is worth it.
You know what? It's just Sanako Ishanten. That is just 3 universes ahead of us, right?
Yeah, would need a couple draws before you get Sun Uncle there, but
Well,
there is a
talking
world
about
where it happens.
Sananko, John has 2 closed Ankos
Oh.
now.
And just drop away the Dora there. I guess with the 8 so being twice cut and 1 being the Dora indicator, it's very difficult to make use of that Dora.
And you're never going to pair it up. Oh my god!
Oh,
I mean,
The
you can't know,
curse.
right? It was the statistically correct play.
yeah, statistically 2 of them are already out. There's no way you're supposed to get it.
8
Brett
3
not
even.
taking
3.
the Yakulas Tenpai.
Yeah. Really wants to win the hand with the 3 Doras, so is just going to push for the Sanako or Toy Toy, seems like.
John waiting for 6-pin.
6-pin, not necessarily going to come out so easily here.
Oh,
There we go.
ズモ
Aww.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sumo.
Yeah, and even there, Brett still needs to draw one more Anko for the Sun Uncle. And so it will be Jen's dealership after that. Very cheap sumo. Jen, now dealer. This is a nice high pie.
yeah.
Man,
Which
I'm tempted to
is
just
beautiful.
toss the 2 Mon right back.
Sort of, yeah. Throws the.
Yeah, 1 Mon.
There are some situations when you cut 2 first and then 1, and some where you go 1 and then 2. I like the 1 here. It's early enough that we can still make use of this 2 mon.
Mhm.
But continue to draw well in the Sozu, and so we'll carry on with a Penchan cut. Brett on the right has a pair of Hatsu and a Dora. Not super value, but could get there. 2 Dora just found for John across the way. There are 3 pairs there. I don't think this is Chitoy Dish yet, unless Tucker says else. Otherwise. What do you think?
Nah.
Okay, this is guaranteed not Chitoy. We have the Ennui stamp of approval. Emily on the left with shapes, but you need the Dora really to get some value here, or work your way to a 4-5-6
Gee.
Shoku. It seems difficult to do that when Brett's just calling like crazy. Grab the Hatsu, grab the Chi. I was looking to pair something up.
Jen actually, despite the blocks looking so good for a more normal hand, is Ishanten for Chitoy. Do you just take the Chitoy if it comes?
Isn't quite Ishanten. It's
Oh
still
wait,
2
I
away.
can't.
from
I
Chitoy.
can't read. My bad.
Oh yeah, it's a 7-8, not an 8-8. Yeah, even now though, it's in a kind of interesting spot.
Yeah, like if you draw 6 so, you
It could still
definitely
be-
start by discarding 1 so, I feel.
Yeah, but what about going to Chinitsu?
Oh,
I think she's gonna play
I-
it straight though. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. You're dealer. You have to play responsibly.
Especially because the Dora is the 7 mon there.
Hmm.
Could she into Tenpai here, but it would sort of be Atsuzuki on the 6 mon. With 2 9 mon cut, it's not so bad, but it's really a tough ask expecting the 6 mon to come out when it's right next to Dora.
Yeah.
You could have even taken the 2 so Chi and discard 7-8 Mon. Like take a small step back, but basically any Sozu would progress your hand.
Right. I
Right.
think Jen is committed to this Dora shape though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this hand can so easily be worth something closed.
Speaking of hands that are worth something close, look at John across the way. He's found himself Ishanten for Itsu Dora 2. Oh, but needs the 7 so, and now Jen's got 3 of them.
Ooh, how do you play this? Do you just drop it back?
Yeah.
I think other routes lead to you not getting Pinfu, and she's pretty committed to that.
Yeah. Pinfu is important, for sure.
Head to the left looks like it should be close. It's just missing 1 tile. Tempai really wants to find the Dora here, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately, doors all held.
Well, this is the alternate route. This is Tempai with Sanshoku chance. Does she Dama this? It's Tanyao.
Tanyo Sanshiku's.
If you find the 4, it's Sanshoku. Will she pass up the 7-pin road or just take the 1,300 points?
I mean, you're not so desperate in the overall standings that you need to pass 7-pin.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think you just take anything you get. And if that's the case, you should... But I guess if you're worried about dealing it to Brett, then... Because you could see the way Brett's opening and think he's calling down for, like, Dora 2 or, like, another
Right.
Punko.
And
So
by
maybe...
staying Dama, Emily can incorporate the Dora into her hand if she draws it.
Mhm.
We can see she won't, but... Oh, yeah, doesn't even want the Sanchoku. Says 6-0 safer. There's only 1 draw left. And in the end, Jin cannot find Tempai. Worked around for a while, but as it got close to the ending, did not want to deal into Brett. And Brett actually not Tempai either. So Emily, the only player picking up points over there as we move into the South rounds.
Yeah, Brett kind of bluffed everyone out there.
Unfortunately, didn't get the Tempai to back it up. Would have been worth something.
Mhm.
But now Brett, dealer, 18,000 points. Last place, the only player below 30,000, in fact. But this is a good chance to come back. Penchon in the Pinzu. It's feeling awkward. You've got the Dorohatsu that is once cut. Also, difficult to make use of that. But you're dealer, you just have to fight for your hand here. John, look at that. He shut down already. With chance at Tanyo, Ipeko, Pinfu.
Ugh.
I'd be interested to see how John plays it if he draws around the upper pins. So say like a 9-pin. But we'll have to wait and see. Across the way, Emily. Reasonable shapes here. Is that Ishanten? It is. 5-7-7 shape to work out in the upper Sozu, but once that gets resolved, will be Tempai. And on the left, Jen has okay shapes. Couple Kanchans to fill, but not too much value after doing so. There's 1 Kanchan. Fill 1 more and you have Pinfu.
Brett making some good sideways movement. Now 2 Shanten with good shapes.
Yeah, dropped the 9-8 Penchon. Now moving towards the Tanyao. Importantly, with a Hatsubin Dora and cut 3 times now, opening up your hand to progress to another dealership round is totally fine.
Here's the Ricci from John. Ricci, Tanyo, Ipeko.
Aggressive
Waiting.
4-pin from Emily again sets up the Suji trap.
Yeah, and 3 in the wall. So good for a Kanchon weight.
Oh no, she just
There's
drew
1.
it too. If you push the 4, the 7 kind of falls, right? No! Bails on the 7. That's incredible.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that
That's
hand isn't worth anything.
That's insane. You push the 4-pin, but you don't push the 7-pin.
Oh, maybe she just sees that she's going to draw into Tempai with 8-pin.
Well, I mean,
Is it possible
that
that 8-pin's
also
help?
so it's also possible that 4-pin was Suwagiri. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a oh shoot, like after dropping the 4-pin, like oh god, they called Ricci. No.
Yeah, let's discover really quickly. Well, we have Brett chasing on 4 7-pin. And Emily actually technically in Tempai, although we can see that all the 8 pins are being held, and of course she's 3D10 on that. Could draw down with a 6-pin though to a weight that has a chance to win. Only what 2 7-pin remaining in the wall.
and all the and no 4-pin available. Oh, tossing the 3 there because it's safe. Losing the 3-4-5 Sanshoku, Jin is.
Yeah, but
But
Tenpai
is Tenpai waiting on the 7?
can't win on that without the Ricci though. Would have been able to with the Sanshoku. Just wants to make it to Ryukoku here. And she has to pass one more draw. This is not great.
Safe to jump.
つも
Oh!
Uh,
Brett finds one of the last 7 pins. Ricci, Tsumo, and the Tanya as well. We'll pick up those Ricci sticks in addition to 2,000 all.
And
And
now it's
Brett,
basically a tie game.
yeah, Brett's on the way back up. I mean, if Brett hits a 2 and 40 hand on Jen, it gets really tight. And it's only South 1, so much yet to be played in this game. All right, Tucker, what do you make of these high pies?
I mean, God, they're so awkward. Like Brett has this 1-2-3 complete, and you see another 1-3, and you see an 8-9-9, and you're thinking maybe Chanta, but then you have the great 5-6-6, which you don't want to get rid of. And it's a similar story on the right for John, although John can move towards a pin Itsu, get the straight going in the Pinsu, because there's nothing really happening in So or Mon that's of too much excitement. Nobody has a pair of the Dorahatsu. Jin has one. And Jin also stuck with a Pinchon in the Mon and not exciting shapes in Pin. I mean, Emily maybe has the fastest hand, but I think everybody has a little bit of work to do here.
And
Although that 2-pin is a wonderful draw for John.
Yeah, that actually puts John into Ishan 10 for the Itsu. I saw Jen also fill a Kanchan. Looking to fill another one, though. That's a
You have
slight
to fill
improvement.
so many.
Yeah, and I mean, so at this point in the hand, Philip, what do you make of the Hatsu being Dora? I mean, if you're Brett and Jen's position, are you willing to drop it?
yeah, I think with Jen's hand, I'm a little more willing to drop the Hatsu at this point. I'm feeling towards the end of the first row is around where I'd consider dropping it, and I think that since this hand is looking pretty clearly Tanyao, I don't want to really hold on to it and have to drop it against Ricci.
Well, Brett has decided now is the time to discard it. Ishan 10. Seems appropriate. And it passed. Jen still holds on to hers. That was her chance to get it out, though.
Although, since it's dealer who dropped it, I mean, whenever I'm building my hand, I always like to have a safe tile to dealer just kind of hanging. And even though Dora is not generally safe, the fact that it's safe to dealer has some amount of value. Oh, and there was the second one for Brett. Oof.
Yeah, Jen also has a couple other safe tiles. Interestingly, on the right, we saw John find Tempai, but it was just on 3 Mon for Ricci Nomi. Chose not to take it, dropped the 2 Mon back, holding on to this Ishanten, saying, I want the Itsu here. I don't want to take a Ricci Nomi with a bad weight against an unknown dealer hand here.
3 Mon really didn't feel horrible, though. As far as bad weights go, like, you see the 1-2 discarded from Jin. I guess there's no Manzu in Brett's discard pile. Emily's discarded a 1 Mon. Like,
yeah, you also had Suji trap. You had an early 6 Mon cut, but even so, I'm sure John felt like other players were really close to Tempai, and getting chased down right after that Ricci might not be a good thing here. We will see Brett fight, though. Takes the Shaba weights very bad.
hell weight. Only hell weight.
リーチ
But it will get chased by Emily, and what is this?
6
9.
Mon, 9 Mon.
That's not that great
And
either.
the 9s we can see all of. That's not coming out. So it would be Ricci Pinfu Tanyao if it does win.
Yeah, there are 2 6 Mon left in the wall, and only 6 draws. That's not the 6. John, is that Tempai? I think.
I mean, it's more than 10% of the wall at this point.
No.
Oh, there's the 1 pin! The last one!
Yeah,
The one chance of having all of the 2 pins.
Right? I mean, he saw it safe to Emily and said 1 chance is good enough. In this case, it wasn't.
Oh.
And I don't know if there was a 2-pin elsewhere that actually made it no chance.
Yeah, if it was full Kabe, it certainly is tempting to push that out there. In this instance, though, Brett just pulls it off and will continue on his dealer.
And is now second place.
That's right, overtakes John for that second place mark. Well, this hand is going to be a bit of a struggle, I assume, for Brett, unless you can draw really, really well here. 1, 2, 3 Sanchoku is a bit of a way off. You have a door to draw around, and that's a good pull in as well. We'll check back in on Brett later. On the right, this looks like a fairly standard Reach or Tanyao hand. There's a Dora as well. Could be 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku, potentially in the future, depending on how the draws come in. Emily across the way has the East pair and at a Dora, but not really good shapes. 1, 3, 5, 7 of the pins is really, really awkward. Jen on the left. Okay shapes. There's an overlapping 5, 6, 8, 9 Mon shape, overlapping 5, 6, 8, 9, 9 pin shape. That has me feeling a bit sad about the chances of this hand. But if you can draw 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku with the Dora, that is some value at least. Of course, we saw the pull in of the 8, so can't even con later, having gotten the 4th one as well. Looks like John just aiming for a Tanyao to try to shut down this dealership.
As Brett, what do you think of the 2-pin discard there instead of, say, like 3 Mon?
I don't know. What do you think, Philip?
I can understand keeping the 3 Mon, and if you think that you're keeping your chances at 1, 2, 3 Peiko alive. I know that Daniel's not the biggest fan of Peiko, but I think there's some merit to keeping the 3 Mon around, but in terms of like possibly Peiko shapes, it's probably the worst way to find Peiko and the hardest way to find it, so I think personally I would have done 3 Mon instead of 2-pin.
There's also a couple of, like, the 1 Mon already being discarded once from Jin, and then the 4 Mon being cut from Emily, the overlap it has with the 6 Mon. I mean, it ends up coming out anyway, so really functionally, this ends up being the same.
Yes.
Now waiting pin fu, 3-pin, 6-pin.
Yeah, I think no matter how we did this, we'd all end up in the same spot, waiting here for Rishi Penfu. But I do like the 3 Mon cut there. That would be my preferred play pattern for that situation.
Yep.
And now we'll see if how much Jen wants to fight. It says no to holding that 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 so shape. The Mon tiles are a little bit tricky to push here. What about Ipeiko chance? With the early Dora cut, you might not feel so bad about this 8 Mon, and yeah, Jen just pushes it out. This is Ishonten.
Yeah, it would be so strange for a Dora cut like 2 rounds before the Ricci to be 6, 7, waiting on 8. Like that would be absolutely bonkers.
This is Tempai. We'll see if she pushes. No. I feel like we've seen some fighting mahjong from the pros this season. Basically always choosing to take the fight if they have Tempai. But Jen's playing it cautiously, still working around trying to find Tempai by drawing the 2 Mon herself. And can even call for Tanyao Tempai. Well, here's Ipeiko even. Tune is safe enough, but there's the Tsumo. Brett will pull it in. Richi, Tsumo, Pinfu. Uda can up the value significantly, and there it is,
And
26.
there it is. That's gonna be first place.
Wow, Brett. It's never out. You're never out of it when you have a dealership remaining, and Brett has just been climbing all the way from last place to first here in South 1. Still a lot of game to go, so I know Brett doesn't want to end this dealer run. A high pies, okay. You've got Tanyao shapes. There's a Dora as well. Chance at Sanchoku with the middle tiles. To the right, John is working with okay shapes. I want to make something out of that pin block, but it's a little difficult with Kanchan and Penchan shapes. Emily across the way has a Dora in hand, and the backbone of an Itsu will probably just end up being a Richi Pinfu or something along those lines. Maybe Richi +1. And then on the left, Jen, these shapes look very good. Even Itsu and Manzu is possible. Of course, could always back it down for Tanyao, and there's a Dora in hand.
What's the 2 doing for the 2 mon in Jin's hand? What's the 2 mon helping us with?
See, I'm wondering if there's a
Ipeco.
yeah, I wonder if there's a world where that
Ipeco.
becomes the pair in a Tanyao hand later. It is a yeah. If you draw the 7 mon and draw like 6 pin, you can cut the 8 pin and the 1 mon for Tanyao Pinfu.
Hmm. I think it's similar to just it's kind of holding it like the second pair in your hand in terms of efficiency, because yeah, you may draw around the 7-8-8, get the 6 pin, and then you drop the 1 mon and wait it on the you can draw 7 mon instead.
Of course, for newer players, it is generally pretty efficient to have 2 potential pair candidates in your hand. 2 pairs where one could end up becoming an Anko or a sequence later on, and one that actually becomes the actual pair in the hand. And actually, the 2 mon will get used after the 3 is drawn. His hand is now Ishanten, Jen just locking in the 8 pins as the pair.
I was joking when I said Ipeco, but
There's actually a path now.
yeah.
I'm also curious about locking in 8 pin as pair. I almost wonder about tossing 8 mon. Because if you draw 5 so, I'd really rather that be the pair.
This is
But
true.
Yeah, that is an interesting idea. Allow yourself the Dora pair up. But John's
Could
hand.
also think that, or
Oh, go ahead. I am.
yeah, could also think that 5 so is not super available, just given the fact that so many 2 so and 8 so are out.
that makes sense.
That's an interesting idea. You know, when you have the 2-5-8 Suji and lots of 2s and 8s are out, that means people aren't using that because they might have the 5 completing their sequences instead of the 2.
3, 4, 5, 4,
right.
6, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Like if you had a 2, 3, 4, 5, what are you going to keep? The 2, 3, 4 or the 3, 4, 5? Well, clearly the 3, 4, 5 because the 5 is the Dora. That is a really interesting read.
Oh, and there's the Dora pair up for Brett. I should clarify. Because that's not the hand we were talking about at the moment.
Brett's still 2 away from Tempai. John has been Ishanten a long time on the right. But for 1 pin, 9 pin, or the south, really wants double south, but it's already come out twice, so that's just never going to happen.
リーチ
Oh, what is this?
Now we have Oh, no Tanya. Never mind. That's just going to be an Anko. So it's 4 so, 7 so, Richie, Dora.
Not really what you expected the hand to become, but when you draw every 2 mon in the game, that's what it becomes.
And there's the 8 pin to follow it up. And John really respecting this Ricci, just bowing out of this hand. Will not be a Tsumo, so can only win on Ron here, and John is out of here. Will not deal in on Hote, so instead, Jen will pick up a couple sticks for Jukyoku payments and will move to South 2. Brett's dealer run finally ends, but it ends with him in first place.
It also leaves a juicy pot in the middle, 2500.
Ricci stick 5 home, but for sure. Now, I need to hear this from the Chitoy master. John's hand. Is this Chitoy?
This is a very flexible hand. Like the 7 pin. Oh my god, I hate that shape. 7, 8, 9, 8, 9 is so bad.
7, 8, 9 Dianpeiko.
ポン
I mean, that would be pretty incredible. The 4 so is really gonna. I would almost toss 8 pin here, like, or 8 mon. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the 8 mon cut here. This is Ishan 10 for John, and I'm sure John will be willing to take the Ricci on any Tempai draw here. Brett has already called the pay on the left. That's Ishan 10. Looking for a pair. I could even take something like a Chun Tanki. That would be fun. 1 mon,
I wouldn't.
Not so good.
This is backward. This is walking backwards for a second. I wouldn't have hated on that 4 so draw discarding 4 pin. So if you do end up going for either normal hand or Chitoy, like both are still alive, really, you can set up the Sushi Trap waiting on the 7 pin. Like if we're going to have a wait that's horrible, like a once out 7 pin single wait, I really prefer to have a Sushi Trap. Like I don't want it to just be out in the ether.
Yeah, I guess the 4-pin is useful here if you draw 3-6. You can drop the 5 and have a really wide Ishantan.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely not the efficient drop.
I do like the idea of Suji trapping. Ishanten on the right as well. Tempai, Brett paired us up the tune. So this is going to be an interesting question. If the tune ever comes out, do you call Pulm? What do you think, Philip?
Mm,
It's a tough
I'm
one.
down. I'm down. Or actually, maybe I'm less down because you already discarded Dora, so you can't Dora Tonki.
I see.
And 5-pin, 8-pin is such a good way. I mean, you wouldn't know this as Brett, but John is guaranteed to deal into 5-pin, 8-pin. Like, it is so hard for John to not deal into 5-pin, 8-pin. 7-pin's the only draw that wouldn't, I feel like.
Well, even if you get 3-6 Mon, you're still declaring Ricci with the 4-pin. So there's
Or
actually a lot of
3-6,
routes.
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Uh-oh.
Alright.
Ooh, what
Should
do you
have
do
kept
here?
Chitoy.
Jen has declared Ricci with Pinfu. We've seen John really respect these Riccis.
And Brett doesn't care, just drops Dora immediately.
And is rewarded. Stashes away the 1,000 points plus the extra Ricci stick. So now Brett over 40,000 points now, and actually has Jen really close to dropping below 30,000. Of course, with the floating Uma. If Brett is the only player above 30,000, we'll pick up an extra 5 points. It's like earning an extra 5,000 points in-game, but 5 standings points.
Yeah, and dealer here is starting with pretty nice hand. The 6-pin makes it even better. Just a really nice 2-shanten. On our right, shapes are not quite as good as dealers. A lot of stuff that needs to be filled in. But a little bit of elbow grease. Crossed away shapes are also pretty good. That 9-so draw, filling in their Yamen is really nice. And I think it's also Niao Shanten. Not a ton of value there.
リーチ
On our left, oh, never mind.
Yeah, while
Nothing
you were
matters
going
with-
around, Emily had perfectly drawn in the 9-mon, and then just found Tempai here. So we'll be Ricci Nomi, but with lots of Fu and a good weight.
Right. And potentially, John could work this into, or before the 6-so drop, John could have worked that into like 4-5-6 Sanshoku and potentially chased. But decides to play it safe.
Looks like everyone really playing it safe here. It is a dealer Ricci, so very scary.
A dealer Ricci with 0 information as well.
Right.
Oh no, dealer doesn't need terminal tiles. So useful.
Well, I mean, Jen drops 1-pin, 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 so that info helped one person. I wonder if Brett can actually find Tempai here. This is Ishantan.
Right.
All right, 3-mon was a pretty live
Gee.
drop there.
Oh, Brett sees Itsu.
Oh, Atazuke Itsu. I've seen him do this before.
But in this instance, 5-pin.
It's gonna deal in. A small part of me that has dealt into like 3 Atazuke Itsus into Brett before is not disappointed to see a little bit of a punish here. Although it's just gonna get out.
Brett
Right.
recognizes that there's just too many dangerous tiles here to try to pass, and so we'll fold away now.
Yeah, honestly, if Brett actually called down for the 1 Han open Itsu only hand, I would have been a little bit pissed, I think.
If you are the player who's dealing into that, it's actually really frustrating, but the player who's winning it is absolutely elated. You feel like you've robbed the table.
つも
Instead, it will be Emily finding the Tsumo. After a long wait, no Ura.
1,000 all.
Yep, 1,000 all. Retains the Regis stick, and now Emily over 30k. Jen dips below. We will keep an eye on that 30k mark. Okay, Emily as dealer now still has a bunch of auto tiles to get rid of, but does pair up the south, and that is the round win.
Call.
Brett's just trying to end this though. Calls the west. Gonna aim for a quick and likely cheap hand. Jen with okay shapes.
Home.
Couple pairs and a Conchon are awkward, but another call from Brett, really applying the pressure to the table.
Brett's like, who needs pairs? Pairs are a dime a dozen.
I mean, honestly, that is true. Every single one of the tiles in his hand could be a pair.
There it is.
Okay, there it is. Brett has consistently done this actually throughout the series, just sort of calling down and saying, I'll find my pair later.
I mean, this is so interesting, Brett dropping away from the block when normally you would cut, 3 per 6 pin. But I wonder if Brett's thinking about turning this to Honitsu for like serious value. This is back to Ishan 10 after drawing another 8 pin.
That only gains you 1 Han though, since you already have a Dora.
Oh, that's true. You do lose that opportunity.
Oh, well, now I guess you could go Toy Toy, which also only gains you 1 Han.
Unless you're pairing up with Dora, then you could get like Toy Toy Dora 3.
There you go. That's the path. Toy Toy Dora 3 Shaw. There's your Hanuman.
And actually, all the Tumon in the wall. So this is live for Brett. Oh, probably cheap for Tempai, though.
But you just gotta take that, yeah. Chi the drop 4 bond.
Yeah.
6 pin, 7 pin weight. No!
Brett wants more! Might
Reach.
get punished here. There's a Ricci from John.
This east, might come out as
It should be a very safe tile, but it's not.
Once cut honor.
Jen finds the safer tile.
This is also Tempai. Takes this one.
Right. What comes out first? The 1-3 or the safe looking east?
8-mon Genbutsu still holds the hand together as well.
This dealer here makes sense to just play the Genbutsu for now.
There's the 6 pin. That would have been a sumo.
Or at least it would have been the Toy Toy Tempai.
Sumo.
Oh, you're talking about Ricci. There's a 3 for Tsumo.
Can deal 1-3.
Oh!
Sumo.
3!
You're never out of it. John, after that huge Sumo back into the game at 28,200, we're in all last, and now everyone below 30,000 except for Brett.
Yeah, that sumo was actually net 3,000 points for Brett.
Incredible how that works out with the floating Uma. I love the floating Uma actually in Armel. It makes things so exciting. And Brett already Ishan 10, even though Jen has called the East. And Jen, actually a very speedy hand for her. Can Brett find Tempai first, though? John across the way is going to struggle to put a hand together, but has already done the hard part and at least getting to second place. Emily on the left, very good hand as well. Could even be 567 Sanchoku. There's 2 Dora, though. I imagine she just wants to call the tune and take a 3,900 point hand into a positive score over 3,000.
And Jen now with the Kutsuki Ishan 10. There's Tempai.
On the
Waiting
2
on 2
pin.
pin.
And
Reach.
there's Tempai for Brett. It's gonna call Ricci waiting on the 5 so.
It's not a great weight.
Oh boy,
but
that's dangerous. Oh god, I don't think I would have done that.
It's Ricci plus 1. It's valid.
It's Ricci. No, it's definitely valid, but oh boy, waiting on 5 so. There's so many upgrades to this hand. I guess there's not a ton, but the 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 shape is not the worst in the world.
Yeah, it puts so much pressure on this table. This table that, well, she can 7's fine. 7 so is relatively safe. It's 1 chance. Not out of it yet. And there's the 2.
There's a 2 pin, and that's why the Ricci hurts so much. But it's so cheap. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, you're sitting at a table where everyone has incentive to fight to get over 30,000. Throwing that Ricci out puts so much pressure on the rest of the table. Do you take the fight and potentially drop down to 4th? Or do you risk it? And Jen found it wasn't a safe way to get there, but aggressively fought for it and got rewarded. Now in second place.
Emily now with a hand to just try and GTFO this round.
Yeah, South Hatsu.
Reach.
What?
Brett?
Okay.
Brett says,
Oh,
I am
okay,
going to get
okay.
first place in this game. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what you do. North 7 pin weight. North is such a good tile too, both in the wall.
I mean, there's no way Brett doesn't win this. He's waiting on North. It's
But
just right there.
Emily is upgrading to Toy Toy now. This would be enough to get her over 30k. And if she hit Brett directly, would be Gyakten for first.
Mm. All right, let's see which player is Thanos.
Who does the wall favor?
Pong.
On.
Oh,
8-pin Hatsu versus North 7-pin.
really wants this Hatsu.
Hatsu in the wall twice, North in the wall twice. 7 and 8-pin are both one in the wall. It's equivalent chances. Either player can take this. Just who does the wall favor?
It's equivalent chances, but one of them is waiting on pay. That's the issue here.
Stop. Some players die, please.
but
All
pay
right.
is also Emily's wind, so it might be a scary discard for that reason. Similar to the Hatsu. Where are these tiles? There's the 7!
There's a 7!
Rom.
And Brett will take it. Richi Nomi there, 1300 plus the Homba. And that will confirm 4th place for Emily. In a closely fought battle, Brett will remain the only player over 30,000 when all said is done, plus 27.1 for Brett. Jen barely taking a negative here, negative 0.5. Will stay in just about the same position. John, negative 6.8, has had a very good showing these first 3 games as a substitute player. And Emily takes the negative 19.8. And that means that Brett and Emily will exchange places in the standings once these do update for us. What an exciting conclusion.
Absolutely fantastic. And that win is absolutely massive for you already had about 20 points buffer between you and Leslie at the demotion line, and getting an extra 27, don't get me wrong, I've lost 50 points I think like 18 times already this season, so it can happen, but 50 points is so much more comfortable than 20.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even with
And
2 rounds to go, still any buffer space is good.
And another really nice part for Brett is the direct swing between him and Emily. 46 points of swing between them. That gap is only going to get wider.
Well, and actually, now that I look at it, Brett's average placement's kind of insane here. Has 9 firsts and seconds and only 6 thirds and fourths. It's just the fact that the upper half just keeps being seconds and the lower half keeps being fourths is Brett's only issue. I mean, in general though, that's not a horrible rank distribution.
Yeah, for sure. I think. Well, yeah, the main issue is just it's very second place heavy, and even in ranked ladder, being second place heavy can really screw you over with the number of fourths you've taken.
And that's even more so in ARML with the floating UMA, where second can very, very easily be negative.
Okay, it looks like this table is going to go again. And actually, all the other games are very have been going on for a while. So we will probably stick with this table. It's been such an entertaining one to watch. I certainly don't feel bad about watching one more from Emily, John, Jen, and Brett. I do notice the standings are a little bit slow in updating. But hopefully they get refreshed soon. And I do hear a gong, which means I need to switch over to this screen. It is Emily who will be the first dealer. John to the right, Jen across the table, Brett on our left. And I'll let you take it away with a high pie.
Yep. Dealer starting out with a pretty average. Looks to have a nice shape in the pins to work towards maybe an Itsu, maybe just a normal Pinfu hand. Has a chance for 789 Sanchoku. Gonna come check back in a few turns, see how that's looking. That 7-set draw is really nice. The 789 Sanchoku is looking very, very good. There's Ishan 10 now for that. On our right, also really nice shapes for John. Could easily be Tanya, Pinfu, Ipeco. Could even work an extra Dora in there. Yeah, super exciting there for John. Crossed away, those shapes, pretty average, not a ton of value, has one Dora to work with. Just got a 5 mon to fill in a Conchan, and is now going with the current shapes will have to end on a Conchan wave, which is a little sad, but Ricci +1 is usually good enough to just take. And then to our left, Brett. Again, the shapes are looking pretty mediocre. Has a couple of Conchons that would need to be filled in to make this nice. But we do have a Tenpai on our right.
That's John. Tanyao Dora 1, not willing to take this Conchan Ricci. That's like Ricci +2, right? Ricci plus the Tanyao and the Dora certainly is a viable
リーチ
Ricci, even though it has a bad weight. And just takes the Ricci anyway. Waits a little bit, maybe one turn, hoping for an upgrade and didn't find it. Didn't want to wait any longer.
Yep. John, even though a sub of the league,
Ricci
has become fully immersed in the meta and learned to always wait one turn before Ricci.
Maybe has been reading some flow book.
Yeah, that's a meta that I know a lot of players are not fans of. I personally don't like the Ricci, the wait one turn in many cases. But I've seen some players get very rewarded for it. I was watching a game the other day where a player waited one turn to Ricci and ended up getting the Ipatsu that way.
The only valid reason to wait one turn to Ricci is you have no idea what your weight is and you don't want to use your whole timer.
Yeah,
And you're like, oh god, I'm just gonna discard and I'll figure it out.
we've got a couple different Tempais. Actually, Jen has found Tempai on the 7 mon, and Emily has chased on the 8 pin. So 3 different Conchan Tempais. And Brett's
There's only
just holding.
one 8-pin left in the wall.
No.
Oh, the 7-mon's gonna come out first.
Yeah, that defends against the dealer Ricci, but surprise, Jen was also Tempai, and that will be 2,600 points going her way, plus the 2 Ricci sticks. So a nice little pickup there for Jen.
Yeah, really nice play there, taking the Dama and then waiting on Ricci Genbutsu. But now, with these high pie, dealer hand, 4 pairs, is this Chitoy onward?
This one's really rough. The pinch-on is the only thing that makes me want to make it G-Toy, but like you have to just play this as efficiently as possible, I think, with Tudora. Like you don't want to force G-Toy and then just be stuck never being able to get Tenpai.
Well, turns out you were wrong. Would have been Chitoy if you kept the 2 pins. But yeah, I do agree. With the 2 door in hand, the value is already there, so you just want to play really efficiently and utilize your dealer bonus to make this hand really worth your while.
And of
On our
course,
right-
if it
Or,
does
sorry, go
turn
ahead.
into Chitoy by happenstance, then you'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
and it still can.
Yeah, for sure. On our right, Jen has pretty nice shapes, working towards a pretty standard Pinfu, maybe Tanyo hand. On top of that, crossed away, also pretty decent shapes. Has the floating door in hand, and may want to start consider ditching it now, since we're getting close to the middle of the second row. On our left, Emily, actually Shanten, but not a whole lot of value here. Really wants that 5-so draw, so that she can add in that Pinfu to this hand.
I mean, you can still get that on the 7-so draw
on the-
as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Either one would be the ideal one. The awkward is drawing the 5-8 pin, then you discard the 8 for the 5-so 6-so weight.
Huh.
Pinfu, but it's a pretty wide weight.
Valroom, why has to John pull into the 2-mon?
I think this is a K10 play or Toy Toy.
You
The
know
shapes
what?
are rather awkward, but because the 6-so got passed, it really does feel like John is hoping to make Toy Toy out of this.
Oh, well, I guess you don't need to draw 5-so or 7-so to find Tempai with that hand. You just draw the 2 Hatsu in a row.
Yeah, you draw a Hatsu, discard the 6-so, which I
That is
don't really
slightly
understand.
inefficient, yeah.
But
Slightly inefficient. But you know what? You get there in the end.
Right.
And that's what matters.
And now John will be playing for K10, if anything.
ooh, no.
Yeah,
Looks
so
like just
from that
holding away.
position, I actually prefer if John would have dropped the 9, so even though it's Shonpai, you do have 2 of them, it's safe enough, and it gives
I
you a
mean-
chance to find Tepai.
I don't really mind 7-so drop there even.
Mm.
I mean, it's obviously not safe, but it's.
リーチ
I mean, the 6-8 Ricci waiting on
No.
7-so would be pretty bonkers.
Well, Jen had found a Ricci, Pinfu, potentially Tanyao chased into this and dealt into Richinomi, so totally acceptable fight, and the result was not too painful either. Jen still has first place going into East 3. Here on her dealership, she has excellent Tanyao tiles, and 6, 7, 8 Sancho was kind of hard to get now that you've completed the 3, 4, 5 shape, but is still live. Brett on the right has the ability to call the Hatsu, and there is Dora Acceptance because we do have a 3-pin in hand. It's always good to know your Dora connectors, and if you draw a 2-pin, you're very, very happy. Across the way, Emily has already called the East. I believe she started with a pair of East, a pair of South, and a North. And I was starting to think about the Winds play, but the North came out very early on. And so it could just be a multiple Yakuhai hand, maybe even Chanta or Honitsu. That 7-mon indicates that she is prepared to play a Soul Honitsu hand. Normally, you would cut the 2-pin, but that's the Dora, so that's why it's being held in this case.
Could even get Honroto now.
Oh
I
my
mean,
goodness,
now,
Honroto
now
Toy Toy.
it looks like Honroto. Honroto Toy Toy Honitsu.
That is definitely the hand to watch. I mean, John, though, 789 Sancho is totally viable here too. And now Dora
Oh my
pair up.
god. But is Dora? Hold on. Wait. Dora's worth more. No.
No.
You gotta get rid of Dora. Dora's not worth more because you're losing Honitsu and Honroto.
Right.
So even if the only way Dora matches up is if you get all 4.
Yeah. I mean, if the Dora comes out, I think you'll call the Poland because it advances your Shanten and it's still a reasonable, Mangan hand, Hanuman hand.
But now the issue is if you're sitting around here like just hanging out with all these pairs, someone's gonna get to Tempai before you, and then you're gonna have to drop Dora into them. Like I want this 2-pin gone.
Gee.
Like 6-0 draw, 8-0 draw, like 2-pin would have been out for me.
Yeah, you could always back out of it. Brett drops the 9. Here we go. We'll see. 2-pin comes out.
All right, let's go.
Home.
There's the south, and all of a sudden Tempai. Those 3 Hatsu are gonna save Brett because Brett's gonna be holding on for dragons. Brett loves some Yakuman.
We'll find out. John decides that this hand is way too scary to fight against. And look,
Well,
if
now
you're
Tempai,
Jen.
6-0, 9-0.
Wow, 9-0's dead, so only the 6-0 can win here. 6-0 also Genbutsu to the open hand, so Brett might just deal in if he tries to bail out of this.
5-so
Well,
comes out. That's scary.
The
Yeah, I'm not-
5-0?
I'm not sure what Brett wants to do here. That
Toy toy?
allows Jen to keep pushing though. Oh, 8-so is Genbutsu actually, so totally fine. 3-so Suji. It's also Genbutsu.
Okay. Where's this last
passes.
Haku? Also, why there's
And we
still
don't see-
2-1-so live,
Yeah,
right?
we don't see any of the
Right.
1-0.
This could be a massive symbol, but where are they? There's the 2-pin.
It's the Dora. There's the
no.
1-0.
But John's
surely it
out.
doesn't come out, right?
Yeah, John is 100% out of this hand. Gave up Tempai a long time ago. Will not drop.
I dip, you dip, we dip. Okay, the Haku's never coming out of Brett's hand now.
Brett has Chitoy
Yeah.
Shantan.
Oh,
Oh, there's the 6. Oh, Haku might come out if he gets. I don't. Suwanko might not be possible here.
Oh my god.
whose greed will win out?
Come on. I want somebody to win this hand.
5 draws remaining. Surely not
Choose
Ikoku.
the
Oh,
tune.
it's gonna be a pull. 3-pin, 3-pin. It's not enough draws, and the Haku will come out. This is gonna be a monster hand. Toy Toy Haku Ton Honroto Honitsu. That's a Baimon victory for Emily. 16,000 points. Finally, the incredible hand came together. What a
Congratulations,
monster.
Emily. Holy.
Oh, poor Brett. I mean, I think. Oh, do you
Brett
have to
just
take
drew
that?
too well. Brett drew the perfect tiles to deal in. Let's see. I think Brett had Toy Toy Yakuhai 2.
Yeah, Toy double Yakuhai, possible Sananko, but like with so few draws left, you're probably thinking less about winning and more about being Tempai.
I mean, the most incredible play would have been if Brett went Ultimate Greed and discarded 3-pin
For the show song, yeah.
for the Shosang Honitsu Toy Toy, yes.
That would have been great, yeah.
As it is, that Baimon Dylan puts Brett in a really difficult position here in East 4. You still have 2 dealerships. If we saw Brett come back from 4th place before, we'll see if we can do it one more time here. High Pie, a little awkward, dropping away from this Diancon, also a little uncomfortable. But maybe setting up a preemptive Suji trap, hoping the 5-pin will come out later. We will see. To the right, Emily has good shapes, and perhaps even Ipeko and the Pinzu, holding onto this 9-pin just in case you can incorporate the door into the hand. Is that a Tempai? You're right.
No Ricci? This is an awkward one.
If you
4-pin
you
waiting
do
on 7-pin.
When you reach and hesitate a bunch, does that signal anything to you as a player sitting around the
Yeah.
table?
I'd be so sus of what's going on. I would kind of suspect a bad wait usually when there's a really long wait. With this kind of Suji trap, I almost this is another time where I wait to Ricci sometimes. Not like a wait one turn to Ricci kind of deal, because a lot of people will see through that. But wait until you draw something that's already in your hands that you can Katagiri Ricci. Make
Yeah.
the Suji trap a little bit more viable.
I think that's fair. I think the other idea is maybe 8-pin, and then you hope you draw 2-pin or 2-pin comes out and Nakasuji traps in it.
That'd be nice. Well, and because that also leaves you the possibility of drawing another 3-pin for Ipeko Pinfu. So I think 8-pin would have been a very nice play there.
Well, let's see.
Now that you mention it.
Let's see what Emily does here. This is Tempai. Can wait Dora Taki dropping the 6th. Instead drops the Dora and waits on the 6th. Can actually win this hand because there's Tanya. But you don't expect the 6-pin to come out so easily here.
That's some bravery right there.
Right.
I had 2 choices. Could have dropped the 7-pin to wait on the 4, or drop the 6 to Suji trap the 3. Just kept the Dama here. Now has created a Nakasuji on the 6.
Great plays coming out. 9-pin push was probably the most scary part of that. But maybe seeing 2 of them out already doesn't think the hell wait is possible.
Well, but it didn't need to be a hell wait. It could have been. It could have been
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Right.
Pushes from Ishan 10, deals into the Ricci Nomi. Again, very cheap hand. The Uda was the door 9-pin. The Uda indicator, that is.
I have now that we can't see the hands anymore, a completely irrelevant question for both of y'all. Under what circumstance, what absurd line of events have to take place for you to call Ricci on a Nakabukure wait, or a Russian Tonki, as some people call it, where you have like the bulging middle shape like 3-4-4-5, and you're waiting for a 4-pin as your pair, something like that.
Well, I can say from experience that when I've done it in the past, it's because I needed a Mangan and the middle tile was Dora. Like 7, 8, 8, 9, I need a Mangan, so I Ricci, hoping for another door. Or I need a Hanuman or something, so I could Ricci Tsumo Dora 3 Uda, something like that. And it worked. So now I'm always going to do that.
Yeah, for me, I'll usually do it on days that end in Y.
Yeah, that's definitely not a very standard play for me, but I might do it if it's like, if I feel it's a really good weight, like it's trapped in some way, or and I need to take the Ricci right here, right now, or that Dora instance where I can't drop the Dora, and so if I'm going to keep my Tempai, I might as well fight with it, that sort of thing. I definitely am not a big fan of that shape, but uh, there are. That's not to say that I will never fight with it.
Yeah, I
Just
think,
go ahead.
yeah, I think my more serious answer is that I would probably never take it unless I was very confident that I'd set up a good Nakasuji trap, or I would be losing out on value, like a API dev pointed out in chat. Like if I were to cut from divulging shape, I might lose a Sanjaku,
リーチ
potentially. But
Well,
even in that case, I don't know if I would reach it. I might just dom with that.
uh, that aside, Brett has found Tenpai, Ricci, Pinfu. I think that's a really interesting question too. I'd be thanks to Apex for the
相撲
interesting answer and for all the other ones too. Ipatsumo for Brett. Uratsu. Okay,
Okay.
Oh wow, there it is.
we've said it before. Brett's never out of these games, and just Ipatsumo find Uratu for a Hanemon, and there's a chance Brett can climb back into things here. Only about 4,000 points behind John for third place, and there's a world where it can happen. John, our dealer, in South 2. So many of these honor tiles that you'd love to pair up, but are being held around the table. I mean, you'd like the East, but Jen has an Anko to the right, and Jen actually Ishanten already with a Dora in hand.
That's wow, yeah. I don't know. When you have these like two Yakuhai blocks, would you ever consider just pushing this towards like a Honitsu to try and maximize revalue?
Yeah, I think that's always a consideration when you have a couple Yakuhai pairs or blocks, especially in Akanashi where Honitsu is really awesome to increase your value. But I think in Jen's instance, most of the tiles were in the Monzu, but she had a Dora shape, a good Dora shape in the other suit. And so going for Honitsu lost you a little bit of value in the Dora. I think it made sense to just play it straight.
And didn't even
Right.
really have a fantastic floater in Manzu. Like it wasn't like there was 4 blocks and something else to build on there. There was the 1, 2, 3, 4 mon, and then the 6, 7 I think have been drawn since then.
Now this is some curious play from Jen. Dropped the North pair and now has this very interesting Mon shape, which could end up Fuditen depending on what you draw. Of course, if you draw 6 or 7 Mon, you're very set, and here it is.
There you are.
リーチ
And yeah, Jen found a way to make it work. Ricci, Dora 1, Sumo and Uda would be a Mangan. 3-6 So is quite good. 5 of them in the wall. John immediately draws it, but we've seen John play very defensively in these situations. As dealer in Ishanten, might trial the 9-pin. No. Full defense.
リーチ
Decides doesn't want to risk it on the Yapatsu turn.
It's also interesting to wonder to what extent it is because John is a sub. Like, you know, John has been playing defensively even from 4th place when someone is reaching. We haven't seen John in a super deep 4th place where he has to push everything. He's been very close the whole time, so there's no telling what his actual reasoning is. But there is something to be said for
ロン
5.
Jen deals into the chase reach from Brett. Ricci, Dora, no Uda, but that's more points going Brett's way. I think that actually exchanges positions now. Yeah, Brett in 3rd place now, almost ahead of John.
Only 300 back.
And to your point about playing as a sub, I don't know if that's necessarily the reasoning why, although that certainly might have something to do with it. I think John in general is very good at defending and sees that as a strength. And so if he can play a style of Mahjong that just doesn't deal in more games than not, he's going to be able to pull out just enough wins to be in a positive position. And the scoreline was very tight there. If you deal in to a bad hand going into South 3, you could just be out of it. You don't have many hands to recover. But if you allow it Sumo, I mean, it hurts because you're dealer and you eat the Oya Kaburi, but you share the pain a little bit with the other players, and you still have a pretty decent chance at coming back in this one.
Especially with two Dora and a Yakuhai pair on this hand.
Yeah, for John, paired up the Dora as his first draw. Can call this down for 3,900 minimum. And for Jen, our dealer, also drawing some very interesting shapes. Would love to be able to draw, say, a 4-pin, incorporate the Dora in the future. Hey, there's a Dora for Brett. Brett says, we're not done just yet. I want first place in this game. And some concern here as Emily has actually disconnected from this one. Hopefully she will come back soon, because if Brett finds Tempai and Emily is left in this vulnerable state of discarding every single draw, could deal right in, and we could see Brett fighting for first.
Yeah, you can kind of see the players using their 5 seconds before discarding here.
Yeah, not just insta cuts. And there we go. Emily's back. Save from the
Luckily
worst
hasn't
case
discarded
scenario.
anything- Luckily hasn't discarded anything super important to her hand.
Right. And actually still Ishanten, so it would have been
Oh, wow.
hilarious if she came back and declared Ricci.
Brett with an incredible Ishanten here or not Ishanten. No, yeah,
Yeah, it
Ishanten
is.
for Itsu. Yeah, for Itsu. You actually could make a sideways move towards a possible Sanshoku, but
Yeah, will kind of depend on what he draws. 2-pin is interesting, but it's been twice cut already. I think Brett really wants this Chun wait.
thrice cut if you count the wall.
You're
as
right.
Cutting things.
Mm.
And I typically do when counting that sort of thing. But John drawing more pairs. But it looks more like Ipeko than it does Chitoy here.
Yeah, can confirm. That is not Chitoy.
Brett a little bit punished for the 2-pin cut. Drew the other side, drew the 5-pin. Would be Tempai here otherwise.
You gotta
Boom.
pull this, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. 7 mon?
Yeah,
Simon is
need to
the
call
efficient
down for
cut.
This is your 30k.
Jen still Ishanten with Saranko chance, mind you. This is Tempai, but not the Itsu
Ricci.
Tempai. We'll take it anyway on the Chun Tanki as expected.
A
Now Jen has 8-mon to pass, but if she draws something really bad, might hazard the Chun Chun. I have the feeling though that she's just going to continue to push for this hand. There's the 8-mon.
There's a lot of reasons to keep pushing this hand, honestly. Question is, do you take the Atazuke call if you get it?
That's a good one.
5 mon's not bad.
Home.
Nakasuji.
Nakasuji.
It actually
Now
gives
we have
John
this-
Tempai.
3-6-0 for Hatsudora 2.
Oh, there's
And
the
could
9,
actually make pretty much any call
right for Toy Toy.
Hatsudora 2 Toy Toy, yeah.
3-6. There's 1-6 and 2 3s in the Sozu for this weight. John has been believing in the Suji in order to push his hand. Push Suji 8-pin, push Suji 3. There's a
Ooh, no
deal in tile that would
call.
deal into John.
Doesn't take the
Interesting.
call.
Yeah,
Doesn't wanna push Tuso.
I almost would have expected the call there just for K10. Although the lower, well, Tuso's been twice cut. But,
Con.
oh, there was a con.
Well, that's a surprise. And now you have to
Okay.
push a 9, but does do so. It is one chance. Jen
But
now
again,
back to Ishanten.
One chance, pretty scary when there's only 5 tiles left.
Right, especially because Brett hasn't discarded any of these upper pin tiles. John maintains Tempai, and Jen will not find it, so she'll just have to pick a safe tile. He's pretty safe. And it'll be Brett and John picking up 1,500 apiece. 1,000 points will be in the middle of the table in addition to a Homba as we enter South 4, Brett's final dealership, all last.
To Dora.
Yeah, Brett's final dealership, so we'll be out of here in like what, an hour?
Yeah, never count these short. Also, even if Brett were to take first place here as dealer, game doesn't end after that. You still have to pass dealership. So we actually could be here for an hour. Oh, there's a pair up. That's what Brett was looking for. No way to accelerate the hand. But now you can call the South as your round wind Yaku.
Here's a question for y'all. Do you tend to keep 4-mon or 8-9 so here? Like, if you call the South, are you discarding away from a complex shape? Are you discarding the Pinchon, or are you discarding 4-mon?
Maybe 2-pin first. Oh, problem solved. Just draw the
Problem
penchant.
solved. Yeah. It's an interesting question. I think as dealer, I would just prioritize the shapes I already have. I don't think I have enough time to draw back around. I think 2-pin is an interesting idea, because I don't think you ever want to cut away from the 1-pins. And you already have the 3-pin acceptance from the 4-4-5 shape.
Yeah, 5-pin is, I think, just strictly less efficient here because you lose the 6-pin draw, and you can still make all the calls if you drop the 2-pin, but June call now from John, trying to just end this over 30,000. This hand, even without any door, will be enough. And that's Tempai.
2-so, 5-so, which a lot are in hand right now. There's 4 left in the wall.
It's not
Mostly
bad, though.
2-sos.
John won't be dealing in yet. Oh, Jen has too many pairs. Depending on her Tempai draw, she might be dealing in. But that's Tempai for John, also on 2-so, 5-so.
Double run.
And there's a Sumo! John pulls it out, grabs the first place, and that will leave Brett and Jen. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong hand. It was Emily on the right. Yeah, but it was Emily who will take the first place here, plus 23.4. John, with that clutch win, another positive finish. Has been an excellent night for John. And Brett takes the negative 8.1 in third. Had a very beautiful hand in all last, but the winning tile ended up getting drawn by John instead for the second place clutch. And that Jen takes the fourth place, negative 21.5. All in all, it leaves Jen moving down a little bit further outside, just ahead of Greg by 3 points. Emily and Brett in about the same position, as we do have the scores update now. And I think
in the same position, ranking wise, but Brett is in a much better position point wise. For sure. Like the negative 70, Brett started off the night, I believe, like around negative 100.
I see what you're saying.
Close to Leslie.
Yeah, Brett moved up in the standings for sure. And
Jen, honestly, taking perhaps the biggest hit here, went from being like pretty solidly in the promotion range to now there's actual contention around that last promotion spot. Before, it went straight from about 80 to 40, if not a bigger gap than that. But I don't know whether Greg moved up or Gaetano moved up or just people moved down or what, but there's a scrum now right around that 5, 6, 7 marker.
Yeah, and maybe we can take this opportunity. I believe this was the last game of the evening, so to quickly check in on the other games. I don't think there were any more from this division. So I think Gaetano and crew played just 2 games in their series, and we'll finish that series later on. But there was an A2 matchup in which Jonathan was the big winner. I think Kevin finished second place there with positive 19.4 as well. And in B2, Clinton picked up a first place, went in a second place with 10.7, and Quinn a positive third as well, positive 1.1. Also in B2, Charlie had a positive 32.9, Christine a positive 11.2, and Viet with a positive 1.3. So those were the big winners in a series over there. Let's see. Anything else? Well, C1 matchup, Nicholas, positive 36.8. A big win for Nicholas. I think Nicholas was certainly looking for a win like that. The only player above 30,000.
Because of a South 4 deal-in, no less.
Incredible. The other game of that A2 series I'd mentioned, last time it was Jonathan and I believe Kevin picking up the positive score. Well, this time, in the first game of that series, it was Sylvie in first place with 23.5, Alfred in second with plus 12.8, and Kevin with a positive 0.7. Jonathan got the fourth in that game, so sort of evened out on the day. And let's see, the other series where Clinton had picked up the first place, ended up getting the last place in the first game of that series. Quinn grabbing a big plus 26.0, and Damien grabbing the second place with 8.5. Wenchen, in fact, even a positive third with positive 2.1. I think that just about catches us up for all of the games on the evening. Yeah. Oh, we did miss one. We'd mentioned earlier there was a B2 matchup with, I believe, Melissa taking the first place. They played their second series. Melissa got the fourth place this time. It was Kayla, the big winner, plus 45.6. Ryan taking a slight negative second place, and Erica a slightly larger negative third place. And that will round us out for the evening. There were so many games played tonight in all sorts of different divisions that not possible to catch them all. And the couple of series that we did manage to get were quite exciting, I have to say.
Yeah, I think we made some good choices with what we watched.
Yeah, we made sure
I'm
to
sure-
get the real bangers on stream for sure.
That being said, we will definitely have some more Mahjong coverage for you this week. We always have a stream on Wednesday, and there are going to be several matches scheduled this Wednesday in session 4. This is week 2 of session 4, so we're just about rounding things up here. And let's see here on Wednesday.
As Michael pointed out in the chat, basically the entirety of B1 still has to play all 4 of their games. So
Yeah, we have 2 tables playing on Tuesday, 2 B1 tables playing on Wednesday, a B1 table playing on Thursday. They'll be catching up pretty quickly, and we're even playing on the very last day of this week. But I know for sure for the Wednesday stream, we've got 2 B1 tables early on in the day, and a C1 table, an A2 table, and another C1 table later on the evening. I don't know if we will stream early enough to catch those 3 p.m. Pacific time matches, but for sure we will definitely be online for the late 6 p.m. Pacific time matches. So be sure to tune in Wednesday evening to catch us broadcasting some more action from the league. Well, I gotta say, it was a lot of fun doing a TriCast with you, Ennui, and Philip, or Tucker and Philip. Any final thoughts before we close it out?
just make sure that you have in fact signed up. If you have not signed up, that is obviously a personal error that needs to be corrected at once. Go to our homepage at americanreachy.org to do that by June 19th. Be sure to follow us at American Reachy on Twitter, and here on Twitch, be sure to follow us as well so that you know when we are streaming. And then if you want to watch our multiple million hours of commentated Mahjong content that we have, you can go to tinyurl.com/ARMLYT, which, I mean, at this point, like, there's no way we don't have the largest compendium of English Mahjong content in the world by, like, multiple times. That might actually not be true, but I'm going to claim it's true because no one's fact-checking me here. So be sure to check that out as well.
Do you have any other wild claims for us, Philip, before we round up this stream?
No claims, just a very earnest wish that all Peitonki believers will have wet socks tomorrow morning.
Oh no. Listen, does that mean I'm going to wake up with wet socks? This is problematic for me. I love my Peitonki. I will be a Peitonki believer for life.
Do you want us to wake up wearing wet socks, or is it like we're gonna open up our drawer and just all of our socks are gonna be wet? It's just no dry socks anywhere to be found.
I want it to be a gradual thing, so over the course of the day, the socks just become slowly more and more soaked, and then when you try to take them off, they're just glued onto your feet.
Oh, that sounds horrific. Well, we'll hope. I'm going to hope that that doesn't end up happening here, and that all you Peitonki believers will be safe with dry socks for the rest of your week. But that has been quite a fun evening of Mahjong. Thank you again, Tucker and Philip, for hopping in and sharing the commentary with us. And I hope to see everybody on Wednesday's stream in a couple days' time. See y'all around.
Bye bye.